Hello?
Good morning. It's me, the Castle Super Beast logo.
Yes.
Hey, no, it's actually me, Pat, joined by my co-host Wooly, who just magically teleported me onto the screen. Hello.
You have teleported.
What's up with that?
It's a pretty logo.
Yeah, I like it.
I could stare at that.
Yeah. So what's up, man? What's up with you?
Not much. Had a pretty different week overall.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, doing some wedding stuff and everything. All that's coming together, but not too bad overall. I don't know about you. Actually, I do know about you, and I do know that this is. I know this is more or less a fruitless conversation, but
Hit me.
I watched a basketball.
Yeah, you watched some basketball.
I watched The Last Dance specifically. That's the Netflix Michael Jordan series covering his reign.
Oh, that's not quite a basketball. That's
yeah. It's more of it's the story of the Michael Jordan repeat and all the stuff.
How did Michael Jordan go from young man to asshole asking fellow basketball players $100 for an autograph in a fancy restaurant? What was the path there?
The thing that makes you the best player in the world is what also makes you an insane, competition addict that accepts nothing less than perfection.
Yeah, that just kind of answers that nice and neat, doesn't it?
It's the only way. You don't become the best in the world at anything without sacrificing a major part of your humanity.
Does that mean that, Talladega Nights is a metaphor about Michael Jordan? Because if you're not first, you're last?
I mean, no, but I also, you have to find an analogy where the comparable best is, not just the best, but so much the best that they're redefining it on a global level, and they're making it a cultural phenomenon.
I actually do have an analogy that fits this podcast perfectly because I stole it from Mr. B-Tongue, a YouTuber who uploads once every never, because he made the reverse analogy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's World of Warcraft, ironically enough.
Okay.
Because World of Warcraft is the Michael Jordan of video games.
Okay.
Why isn't this game more like World of Warcraft? This game failed because it's not like World of Warcraft.
Oh, by everyone else's
learn
by everyone else's comparison points, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
You remember the Cult of Jordan?
Yeah.
Do you remember that fucking era in which
I was raised in it.
Every up and coming basketball player was like, yeah, but are they the next Jordan? They're not.
Yeah.
They're not enough like Jordan. That's why they're not as great as Jordan.
So this is what I'm talking about, where it's the only way to create that effect where people are where your name is synonymous with the game, and where countries where they knew nothing about the sport, they learn about the player first, then the team, then the sport itself. Yeah. Right? It literally did not exist in a ton of countries until he brought it, or rather he got popular enough that it started arriving there and shit. And in order to just shoot that far beyond every other second and third place comparison point, you have to have something inside of you that forsakes a part of your humanity. Like I said, in this case, it's the drive for competition is beyond anything else any other human can have. And that
that just looped right back around to World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I guess, but You know, but it just really like it is. It's a pretty good series, all things considered. Like, Last Dance is pretty good. It's a really good watch, and I can attest to that because I was also watching it with like Punch Mom, who didn't know he existed, and you know what I mean. And like while we were in the middle of going through it, she was very excited to get to the next episode and see where it all goes and stuff.
So I've read from people that they appreciate me enunciating myself if I'm going to do a purely facial reaction. So I'd like to enunciate and doubly like emphasize that you just said that Punch Mom didn't know who Michael Jordan was, which caused a lean and a squint that I'm not fully able to get off of my face. Wooly, I've met her. She is real, yes? It's not an elaborate smoke and mirror goof.
Are we forgetting 3 weeks ago when we talked about Space Jam 2? And the entire 20 minutes we spent on the fact that she didn't recognize his face and how weird that was.
You know what? I actually do remember that. And it's just so unbelievable that somebody doesn't know who Michael Jordan is.
Because all I was doing was making a call back to that very recent conversation.
Oh my god.
Well, in any case.
Does Last Dance go into what happens when you don't pay your gambling debts?
So it seems. Yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
Although it also addresses how much of that is speculative, how much of that is real, what the deal is.
I'm assuming such.
You know.
That being said, hey kids, if you owe money to somebody that you shouldn't owe money to, you should pay them.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was I know that was always like rumor stuff that I had heard about, and it was talked about in papers and stuff, but you know, they basically just kind of went like, yeah, that was always just like rumor shit, but never really confirmed in any way. But yeah, the overall as a sports anime, it's a good watch, and it's put together in a very like interesting way where the season itself, the final season, was called The Last Dance, and so it's following that like year, but then cutting back to all the different periods of time like leading up to that, and like the different shit that you know, other players are going through, and you know, hard cutting to where the fuck is Dennis Rodman? He's on Monday Nitro. Like, instead of going to practice, he's skipping out to hang out with Hollywood Hogan. You know, and just like wild shit like that. Obviously late to the party on this.
Like a Michael Jordan like puff piece.
I mean, that's the thing, is like you watch it, and I think it's a very honest telling of like, okay, so this dude is clearly the GOAT, and this dude is clearly a generational marker, and that impact is not understated. Like, I felt as if it made up for all the things I was trying to explain to Punch Mom about. I'm like, how did you not know about all this? It very clearly cements how insanely huge that era was. But then it absolutely shows you the cost to your humanity. You know, it shows you the parts of him that are like, yeah, I literally invent things. I invent slights that people don't do to have a reason to take out revenge on them, to drive myself to be the best. Like, I will pretend someone talked trash where they didn't, in order to get himself to where he needs to be, to dominate the person the next time around.
That's the kind of attitude that you see in like serial killers.
It's crazy. And like, he has and they come back to it like multiple times. It's a 10 episode series, and he constantly just goes, okay, you feel like you could do that, you feel like whatever, I disagree, fine, let's see what happens. And then like it's just this thing where like it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter what's happening, what's going on. I will create reasons to send myself to like fucking 11 and to just unleash everything I have on you and then some. And that's what it takes to win, you know, and that's what it takes to be the best, and that's all there is to it. And other people who are along for the ride, it's like if you're not on that level, which obviously you're not, then you're gonna get yelled at, you're gonna get screamed at, you're gonna get fucking, you know, punked out, and in some cases you might get swung at, you know.
But how is it that Steph Curry was able to sink all those baskets and still appear to be a human?
Well, all of the really great basketball greats that were before and after were still really great. But the difference is that if he didn't have this like insane characteristic about him, at least my takeaway when I'm looking at this series, if he didn't have that inside of him, he would have just been another one of the greats, as opposed to...
He would have been a Larry Bird or a Charles
Magic
Barkley.
Johnson. Like, yeah. There's the legacy before and there's the legacy after. And the legacy after is a lot of people that are like, yeah, I learned from watching what he did. And beforehand, yeah, Bird and Magic, you know. But it's not about, like, being one of the greats of all time. It's about, like, going up and above and beyond to the fucking moon with it. And you have to just like fuel it with your insanity, and that's the only way to be that far above the game and to create a situation where it becomes again this insane global phenomenon. Like literally, Nike shoes were fucking nothing prior to him. They weren't doing there wasn't much. The entire like the culture of basketball, wearing the clothes, all of that shit was all just based on his madness.
Michael Jordan reminds me, because my dad watches a lot of golf, and he watches it to fall asleep. But when he's not asleep watching it, he'll be enjoying it. And it reminds me a little bit of Tiger Woods, who I'm going to assume also had that competitive nature of some degree. And they both had the situation coming in. I remember talking to kids that were my age in high school that didn't watch basketball games, even though they loved basketball, because Jordan had ruined watching basketball because he was gonna win. Like, oh, the Bulls are playing fucking whoever, why even watch? They're gonna lose, or you know, the team that I like is going to lose. Jordan's gonna crush them. With Tiger, it was like, why bother watching any golf tournaments are like 4 days? Why bother watching anything other than like a highlight reel on fucking Sunday of Tiger getting double eagles all the way up and down the fucking thing? Because nobody, like in golf, it's crazy because you get to have like, you know, top of the board is Tiger at -18, and in second place is this guy with -5, and there aren't enough holes left in the game to play for anyone to catch up. So why are we playing? He already won.
Yeah, the thing that like stood out too is that like there's so many like insane athletes and like achievers where you're like, okay, so Tiger Woods, that was created by like insane parenting and just like from birth you are going to be this monster, right?
Yep.
Venus and Serena Williams, from birth you are going to be this monster. Michael Jackson, same thing, right? Tyson, brought in off the streets and hypnotized into being the GOAT. Literally hypnotized into just becoming what he was, you know? All of that was just like, there's these crazy backstories to a lot of these super athletes. But with Jordan, it wasn't like his dad it wasn't any of those things. His dad wasn't, you know, Tiger Woods' dad or anything like that. There wasn't any of those, like, you were, like, turned into what you are. It was just his own thing, his own Behelit in his mind that he unlocked.
The difference between external rewards and internal motivation. You can make anybody do anything. I think there's a old Chris Rock bit where he's seen a bear ride a fucking tricycle. And how do you do it? You nail his feet to the pedals and you beat the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything to anyone, but you'll never get them to want it as bad as if it came from inside. His own demon is grander in scope than any demon that could be implanted.
Exactly that. And you will never, and it's almost a vagabond moment, because like there's where, like, the demon inside and the thirst for violence and vengeance and all that shit, and Musashi fights people that have, you know, learned their way, that have learned their bloodthirst, and he has his own that comes from his own places and his dad and shit. But like it's what you just said, it is like none of those greats that were like raised to be that way will have the level of insane fire that he did naturally, you know. And the part where you come to understand the gravity of it and just how big it is that in the literal modern segments of the series, you're watching him sitting there in 2021, and every time he talks about one of those grudges, it's still there. It's absolutely,
even the ones that didn't happen,
actively in his head, it's all still there, you know. He admits to the one where he's like, yeah, no, he never talked shit, I just made it up. But what's the difference, you know? But like the ones where there was something that happened,
Michael,
the ones where something did happen, he still has it, you know. And I've made reference to it before, but it's like, yeah, he was getting like a lifetime achievement award for like sports and stuff the other day, and there was a big ceremony, and like one of his big defining moments was he got cut from the pick in high school, and he brought the high school coach out and put him in the crowd, and then spent a ridiculous amount of time in his speech just belittling the coach. How dare you cut me back in high school? Like it's
on
it's
one
insane.
hand, on one hand, I'm not gonna say that hasn't been at least everyone's fantasy about something once, where you get to lord it over somebody from your youth who was super wrong. Like, I would love to go back to my old elementary school and tell Mr. James that they did in fact let me use a calculator in university.
Sure.
For example.
Just check out every one of those. That shit ain't gonna fly in university.
Oh my god!
Memes.
You'll need to use a pen in university. They won't take your tests if it's in a pencil.
That shit in university, soaring, flying,
oh man,
swimming, flourishing.
I saw a tweet about that. It would crack me up. Is my teacher saying that shit won't slide in university, and then it's that shit in university, and it's a picture of M. Bison doing his crouching slide.
Yep. Take your pick.
But that sounds like a miserable way to live your life.
It sounds terrible. It sounds absolutely
like
terrible.
Constant agony.
Yes, it sounds like you've sacrificed humanity to be that. And he, you know, and they have those parts. They have those moments where he's like, you know, yeah, like being inside here is not very fun. You know, like there's parts where he admits it and he talks about all that shit. But how bad do you want it? You know? That's and that comes up a lot in sports. They'll be like, yo, this is you know, the final round, final set, final play, whatever. It just kind of comes down to how bad you want it. And you know, that is like often described as a moment where both players or both people know they know everything about each other and what's going on, and it's just going to be like, can you go past your point of exhaustion or whatever? But in this particular case, it's like, no, like, can you like forever damage your ability to be social in order to, you know, like not just achieve everything you want, but like
achieve other people's dreams so that they can't
deny everyone else the ability, you know?
Yeah, there was like a I want to say like 10-year period where Jordan's existence denied other stars' existence.
There was they made a particular like example of one dude where it was like it wasn't just about coming back and destroying them the next game after he was slighted because it was an ex-teammate, but it was about absolutely shutting down that his ability to play the game at all. And like the team that the game ended up with the team having, I think, the lowest score for a team in the playoffs ever, because it was about shutting that. Like there was no game to be played by the other half. You know, it was yeah. So anyway, all this to say, it's a really good series, and it definitely is something that if you're like the age where, you know, I was 5 to 10 during most of that, you know, and I remember it on TV. I remember my family watching. I remember tuning in for the first game when he came back wearing the 4-5. You know, I remember like a lot of these moments, but it was like really cool to go back to these memories and then kind of see like, oh, this is what's happening behind the scenes. This is what's happening on the court. This is the story of the game that I was not like paying attention to or aware of, because again, my cousins were more basketball people. I was never really into it. So like going back and kind of getting that side of things was a very interesting, and finding out about like shit like how, yeah, like the right-hand man, Scottie Pippen, you know, was there the whole time, being basically like second best in everything, but being like under the 112th highest paid in the entire league or some crazy shit, where you're just like, yeah, he got completely fucked contractually. And, you know, finding out what the fuck was going on with Dennis Rodman at the time. No mention of North Korea, of course, but you know, like all the wild shit that happened in that time frame. Going back and getting some extra context on it was really interesting. And then yes, actually seeing the damage that Michael Jordan does to himself and how that comes out to still be in his head, fresh as if it were yesterday, all these years later, you know. It's great, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it already, but on the off chance that you haven't, even if you're not necessarily interested in basketball, I'd say The Last Dance is a pretty good watch.
I can grab that on Netflix?
Yep.
Okay. I might take a look at that, because like Jordan's mental state has always been fascinating to me. The dude's so self-destructive.
And so yeah, and they do something too, which is really interesting, and they're smart in the way they made it, where and you've seen a lot of the memes, you know, sure, of him like laughing with the iPads and stuff, but like that part of it is really smart, where they interview him, they interview Phil Jackson, they interview a bunch of the players at the time about all these moments, but then they, like, after they do a round of interviews, they take that footage and then go back and show them what other people said, and then get them to react to what those people are saying.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so you get to see like the double take, the response in some cases on some of these moments, where it's like, here's the thing that happened, and then here's the guy that says, oh, this is what I was doing on that day, and this is what I was like, yeah, I gotta show him that I'm not scared of Jordan. And now here's Jordan watching the clip of the guy going, I'm not scared of him, and he's just laughing his ass off, like, okay, dude, whatever the fuck you think that was, but you know, you're like, and just like, yeah, showing you the response to what the people's like individual takes were on those things is a smart way to tell the story.
You know, it's funny because I'm thinking about it, and I legitimately can't even remember if this is real, because it's one of those things that seems ridiculous, but with Jordan, I could believe it. It's like the "fuck them kids" line. Did he blow up a bunch of children at some charity thing? Like,
he did not actually say "fuck them kids."
Okay,
but he thought it.
No.
Every waking moment of his life, he thought it. That's how he operated.
What's the origin of that?
And that's why he's the perfect person to, you know, walk up and to walk up and interrogate when he hears the sound of dribbling that's been banned. And
have discovered
What?
the origin of "fuck them kids." It's not a spoken line, but it was his actions. He was, oh god, who's CP3? Chris Paul bet him that if Michael Jordan had missed 3 shots, then an entire like basketball camp would get free Jordans. And then Jordan just sunk all 3 baskets. And it was just like, nah.
Under no circumstances we are taking their shoes away. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that.
All he had to do was miss a couple times on purpose, and all the kids get the free sneakers.
You can't bet world peace on him missing. Fuck you. No.
Oh, what an asshole.
No, under no circumstances. No. Yeah, yeah. And like you see it like come out in like just the smallest moments where it's like, oh, his security guards are flipping quarters at the wall. And he's just like, all right, who's got what, $100? Let's go. And just turns it on, you know? And it becomes a thing because it's just, you can't stop. Can't stop. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And again, like, yes, it you know, it's the type of attitude where it's like he's a role model, but you can't, like, how are you supposed to actually sit, like, yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and, you know, be like Mike. All that era is like, you know, the posterized image, but like, how are you supposed to teach children the idea of like, you cannot forgive yourself ever if you fail. You
fight every fight and win every fight that you
no
didn't
matter
have
what
to
the
fight.
cost. create struggles for you to overcome in order to be the best. Yeah.
There is a really short line between this attitude and throwing your child off a cliff to make them stronger.
Well, here's the problem is that like
it's a small distance.
If this were a work of fiction, Jordan would be the rival that like has the wrong motivations, that doesn't care about friendship, that is supposed to learn his lesson at the end of the day. But the real world doesn't work that way.
No, the villain wins.
The villain wins. There's no hero who's here to show that no, the true power comes from friendship, and the true power is about, you know, working together.
With your team and passing the ball is better than just taking it to the bucket every time.
I mean,
you know, we beat the, you know, we beat those Monstars as a team, Jordan.
There's like it's a famous quote, but there's no I in team, Michael. No, but there's an I in win. You know, like it's just this is it's like you're looking for the protagonist to show up and show the talented, you know, natural selfish rival that this is not the way, but it never happens because that doesn't exist.
Oh well. Them's the breaks. At least all the people he crushed can look at him and all his monies and fame and look at him and see a dude that seems to be just constantly miserable.
I mean, part of it is that, like, yeah, well, the story about how that last season, you know, when it came together is also about how it was forced to end, you know, outside of his control. And because of that, like, the feeling of going out on top, and as opposed to like ever feeling like he couldn't do it, he left feeling like he could continue to dominate forever, and that feeling never goes away, and then that's burnt in for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where, like, depending on your sport, like, you can age out gracefully. I don't know, man. There seems to be like a football, basketball, hockey line in the sand that is like, no, even the average players are going to scream past you.
The power of youth is just too much. Yeah. But here, it's just, he never gets that. And he's the one who needs it the most. So.
It's my favorite. That's my favorite thing about baseball is the story of Babe Ruth and why Babe Ruth was so overweight. And it's because he says, I don't need to run to the bases if I knock him out of the park every time.
Every single time. Mm-hmm.
So I'll just knock him out of the park and just walk my way around.
There you go. So yeah, Last Dance. That's good stuff. And I also jumped back onto Dragon Ball FighterZ this week.
Mm-hmm.
Took a look at the new updates.
It's a totally new game now.
It's the sequel. It's Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. Mechanically, it's a humongous difference. Crazy patches across the board. So a lot of character specific changes, that are like, I would say significant if you keep up with the game, probably less significant if you're not paying as much attention. But like moves got buffed.
Stupid Gohan shit.
Yes, so moves got buffed, things got like overall like Gold Frieza timer resets every time you KO somebody now when the round restarts.
What, really?
Yeah,
That's
Gohan
crazy.
Gohan installed allows him to just cancel all specials into all specials. So he really can, if you let him spend all that bar, he can do whatever he wants, But all these character specific changes though are nowhere near as big as the system changes. So the particularly huge ones are one, there's a new defensive mechanic that lets you do a vanishing attack. So you remember the teleport kick?
Yeah, I remember you.
Right. So before, usually you do that in neutral or on offense. Now you can do a version of it while you're blocking to get out of complete lockdown situations.
I mean, that is thematically appropriate for Dragon Ball.
And you can do so for 2 bars. Instead of before that, the only thing you could do is at first, the first version of the game, you couldn't do anything, right? Mm-hmm. You just had to hold it and you watch Gohan do those block strings that last 10 minutes on you, and too bad. Then they put in like tag block guard canceling, essentially. So you switch out to a tag partner, but if they know you're going to do it, they can just 2H the shit out of that switch,
of course,
and keep and blow you up, right? So even that was like not perfect. You just had to be smart about it. Now here you get something that's a safer option. Still not perfect, but like, it allows you to get out of a lot of situations.
It costs 2 bars.
But it costs 2 bars, exactly. And then the huge one is they've made it so that at the end of any special move, you hit a tag button and you switch live during the combo.
What?
Marvel Infinite.
That's a completely different game.
Exactly. It's Marvel Infinite. The best thing about Marvel Infinite was the gameplay. At the end, like I've said it a bunch of times, but it's like it was a fun game to play because the system was designed around constant switching, and that made the rhythm of the game really fun despite how shitty it looked. So now, when you do any special, you tag out and you just continue the rest of that combo with your next teammate, and that creates
a whole.
You can just go. And
so you can just beam people in, like beam attack, and then.
But I mean, But it wouldn't be. It would be a stupid thing to do. It would be a risky thing to do. But it costs no meter. It's free. So the whole game can become an entire series of just constant tags and constant switching if you want it to be. Now you still want to recover, red life when your team is behind, is off screen. So it's not always a smart thing to bring them in, but you have the freedom to do that if you want to. and that changes the game entirely. It's free.
That's bananas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bandanas even.
So went back, took a look at that, and yeah, it's like one of these things where that plus, there's this giant ass roster at this point, and it's all there, and you make a change like that at this point in the roster, and the whole game has to now kind of reinvent itself.
Yeah, it's got to resettle.
Everyone has to go back and look at their teams and realize, oh shit, I have to rethink this team. Maybe I can do something better. Maybe I can do something more with people that I originally couldn't use, Moves that didn't have as much utility will get better. Like, I know people were talking about how, like, Broly and Vegito's grabs that, like, toss you downward now can just extend the combos fantastically, So, like, they become more viable with that. Your assist types were already there. So, yeah, it's just a whole new discovery. Like, reinvent the game, pretty nuts that they did that. And at the end of all of those awesome updates, still no rollback. So
I was sitting here patiently waiting for you to be like, man, what a bunch of great changes, and then I was gonna go, oh cool, I can't wait to hop back online and play it with the new rollback they added too, right? But you just jumped to the end.
Yep. So I played with Reggie, like we played some local matches.
Of course you did.
And that was what it was. But all this to say that, like, yeah, Dragon Ball has gotten a really fucking cool update, and it's a fantastic game that's missing one thing,
Could they make, like, could they just
two
do
things,
like Fish Cube F with Baku and Bohan and the gang and put rollback in that?
So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I mean, the fact that they're making this kind of change here is like, okay, they're not done with the game. They don't clearly plan. They're not shelving it, but would they go back and put rollback in something that was like a more recent release, because it takes much more work than it does for the older shit? I don't know.
The weird thing is that, like, they did do that interview where they said they were looking at putting rollback into some of their older titles, and I was under what is apparently a mistaken assumption that DBZ would have been like the highest priority on that.
No, I think they mean like, yeah, like that plus R type shit, where it's like, because again, the older you go, the easier it is to do, because you're just at that point, it's the emulator more than anything. But yeah, that the patch is pretty fucking good. So yep, that was a lot of fun. I'm going to go and like kind of mess around a bit and come up with just, an updated version of the team I want to play, so that if I ever do like have a random copy of the game, like, running somewhere,
somebody's like, hey, you want to play DBZ?
Yeah,
go, yeah,
I'll be kind of ready. So I'm gonna go do that, at the very least, and try to get some updated combos. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the online, Or you could even submit yourself to some matches in delay based and just try to fucking.
There's no going back.
Yeah. If you get a good match, sometimes you get a good match. Let's not, like, sometimes you can, but it's maddening. It's maddening. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. For me.
All right. I played 3 games this week, 2 new, 1 old. Actually, one's so new it's not out yet. I'll talk about Prey first, because it's just me going back to it. I went back to Prey. I felt like it. I felt like, I want to play an immersive sim because I watched a video on System Shock, and Prey is basically System Shock. And man, Prey's a really fantastic immersive sim. Like, they told me to go to Calvino's lab, like as the first story icon, and it had a big marker on the fucking, you know, on the map that said go here, do story. And I said, yeah, I don't care about that. And I went back to the beginning of the game, and I stacked up some boxes, and then like just barely made a jump to a ledge and got into an office that had no power that I wasn't supposed to be in, and then a ghost attacked me, and then I found a fucking recipe to manufacture level ups.
Original Prey, right?
No, Prey 2017.
Oh. Okay.
Somebody in the chat confusedly asks, wait, who calls them immersive sims? Literally the name of the genre for like 15 years. Don't know what to tell you, buddy. But yeah, that game's great. And mimics are a great enemy as a default enemy. They're just head crabs in that game. Like, they're just head crabs that can attack you because they were a chair.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
When they attack you, are they still in chair form or coffee cup form?
No, what'll happen is that you'll scan a room, and it's the typical first person shooter, like all the items and trash are strewn about.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll walk up to, there's a particularly good early game thing where you see a pistol on the ground, and you go to pick it up, and the pistol wiggles a little bit and then turns into a black tentacle head crab and runs away.
Okay.
And then you turn your camera to the right and see that there was an identical pistol maybe 3 feet away. So it creates a situation where you'll be going into an area you've been, and the game will occasionally shuffle the trash items around,
mm-hmm.
so that you can never be 100% certain that
what
that
you're looking
chair
at. Mm-hmm.
is a chair. It's a great default thing. And also, I look over at the people talking in our chat saying they've never heard that term before, and it's a tag on Steam. What do you want from me? Type it into Steam, you psychos.
Ignore them.
JSX is an immersive sim.
them.
No, I want to. They're
Okay.
raw. They're stupid.
Well, I've embraced an energy of they don't exist. What is to stop you from just shooting everything in every room?
Limited resources.
Okay.
Like highly limited ammunition in particular. And like it's extreme. So you played BioShock 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Or just 2?
1 and 2.
Okay, so you remember the amount of like just trash strewn around everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Like knocked over bullshit and what have you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like actually going up to every one of those items and shooting it would be a complete exercise
of course.
Utility. It'd be impossible.
But are there good things to pick up in the trash too?
Yes.
Okay.
So it rarely, like, items that you want will attack you. But most of the time it's a chair, a bottle, a trash can, etc. Mm-hmm. And they definitely spoon feed you early on, where they'll show like a trash can rolling down the stairs for no reason. And then you go up to the top of the stairs, and then there's an immaculate trash can sitting directly in the middle of the floor. And you go, okay, I'm pretty sure it's that one. Now, there's a bunch of regular enemies as well, but just sprinkling the possibility of every stapler conceivably attacking you does a fantastic job of making you feel stressed in areas that you've cleared and re-cleared and re-cleared.
Mm-hmm.
That game's great. That game's incredible. As for new shit, I had a trash thing earlier this week where I played Death Trash and Grime back to back, which I thought was hilarious that those games came out back to back. Death Trash is I don't know how to. It's like if Fallout 1 had been an action game that you made on the Sega Genesis.
That's that game with the grimy ass sprites, huh?
Yes.
Grimy sprites.
And the meat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's filthy. It's
Looks
like
pretty cool.
you start with an ability to puke, and you hit the right bumper and you puke. Like it's trash. It's also a really fun like action RPG that has like, it's basically Fallout 1. Like they give you the big map like Fallout 1, you're going to towns, you're exploring areas. It's just a kind of like Sega Genesis? Is that what I want to say? Sega Genesis style like roam and action game. It's stellar. It's absolutely fantastic. It's very early access. Like the kind of early access where it's getting 3 patches a day kind of thing, but it's fantastic and I recommend to everybody to check it out. And then I played Grime right afterwards, which is a Metroidvania where you play as a bunch of rocks. And you're a bunch of
rocks.
You play as a bunch of rocks. I will get a photo for you.
Okay, are you like a golem made of rocks?
You are a golem with a black hole as a head.
Okay, that is different from actually just being rocks. Fine.
And everything is rocks, but it's also gross and slimy. And the rocks all look like freaks. And it's got a little Dark Souls in there. But it's fun. I like it quite a bit. Like, I'm not going to say... It's not... Like, initial impressions did not give me, like, the same, like, oh, this is going to be a fucking thing, like, say, Blasphemous did. Where Blasphemous was just like, this thing's incredible right away. But yeah, Grime's pretty good. I liked it. Oh! And I played Forgotten City, which used to be a Skyrim mod. Have you ever heard about this? This just came out.
Maybe not.
So, Forgotten City used to be a Skyrim mod, and they remade it as its own game in Unreal Engine. And you start playing it, and if you didn't know it was a Skyrim mod, you would know right away because it zooms in on characters when you talk to them, and the camera feel is the same, and the environments look exactly like Skyrim. But it's Rome, though. It's totally Rome. Don't worry about it. It's, like, kind of hilarious.
Okay.
But the premise is very Majora's Mask, and the gameplay is very Outer Wilds, in that you are stuck in a horrible time loop in which someone will commit a sin and kill the entire city, and you have to discover who is going to be responsible, and so you'll be talking to people and figuring out how to solve their problems, only to loop and solve those problems instantly with the items or knowledge that you had prior as you work your way through a mystery. It's really good. That's
a really good way to capitalize on limited resources. That's a good style of game to make.
I absolutely love it. Like, I knew it was going to be something special where I talked to a guy who was going to kill himself, and I was unable to convince him not to kill himself. And then I looped it, and then I talked to him again, and then I used the information he had told me right before he killed himself to try and talk him out of it. And then I found out, oh, he's in debt bondage, so he's not going to not jump off this cliff unless I give him a bunch of money. So then I did it. I looped again and gave him a bunch of money, and then got him out of debt bondage, and then was able to get like blackmail information on his employer to just release him anyway. And then I looped again and just went straight to his employer and got him out scot-free. Like, okay, good, no problem. And then I looped again and just told the guy, hey, go to this dude and tell him you know his secret, and then tell him to release this guy from his debt. I need to go do something else.
Whoa. Okay, so Majora's masking it, but there's multiple solution layers.
Yes, and the main thing is that you keep every piece of information and every item that you're traveling back through. So the first thing that I found in the game is the girl's dying of poison, and the guy who has the cure won't sell it. So I stole it from him, caused the city to die because that's a sin, looped it, and then just gave her the cure. because I kept it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on future loops, I would just give the cure to somebody else and go cure this lady. I got stuff to do. I'll talk to you later.
So the like layers of solution are also for saving time so that you can just get to the bigger things.
Because everything's working on a schedule kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Ender
great.
Lilies?
Oh, that's a different game. That was Forgotten City. Ender Lilies is a Metroidvania that I played right after Forgotten City. That is well produced, visually immaculate, has fantastic music, and a cool setting, and I didn't like it. I didn't like how it felt to jump and swing your sword in it.
Oh.
So if you guys want to check out Ender Lilies, you can. It seems to be a high quality indie Metroidvania, but I just didn't like the part where you actually played it.
Okay. I saw some footage of Ghost Song pop up, and I was like, man.
Oh, wow! That existed!
Yeah. That took me for a ride. Just one of the first Kickstarters I've ever backed. And they're like, here's 15 minutes of gameplay. And I was just like, I don't even know what to feel or say at this point. But I can say that, like,
it was on July 23rd.
It's been so long that I was scrolling through the comments and everyone was just like, oh, this game looks cool. Wow, look at this thing. And it's like the memory of the Kickstarter and the wait and the pain is washed away with time. It's been that long that it's all just new audience going like, can't wait to play it.
Okay, so the July 23rd update was the final update to the demo, saying that there's been a lot of progress made in the full game. The first comment on that update is, the demo is great, except I'm getting a ton of game crashes and worse problems continuing. The game crashes seems random. No error message, nothing. Unity just crashes. The game loading issues are weird. I can see my character, but they sink through the floor. So it's coming along great. It's coming along.
It's good. Okay, so let's just get things in order. You mentioned Grime was the Aganos game.
Yeah, I mentioned Prey is the immersive sim made by Arcane in 2017 that I've talked about before. It's fantastic. It's about mimics and space shit. I mentioned Death Trash, which is a Sega Genesis style Fallout 1 game that's fantastic. It's on Steam Early Access. There's Grime, which is a Dark Souls-y Metroidvania about rocks. Then there's Forgotten City, which is a Roman murder mystery time loop game, and Ender Lilies, which is an anime Metroidvania.
Okay. Was Forgotten City, like, did you say that this was a mod of Skyrim, or it felt
it literally was a mod of Skyrim that came out a couple years ago.
Okay, and then it became its own thing.
It won a bunch of writing awards, and then the three guys who made it were like, we should put this out as a real video game.
Okay.
I beat it over the weekend. It's great. It's fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, I like the sound of that.
That's pretty much it for me. If you want to check out more crap this week, you go to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. I'm playing Humankind tomorrow. That's Civilization made by Amplitude.
And over in Woolly Versus, playing Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Raido Kuzunoha versus the Soulless Army. And it's great. It's a whole lot of fun.
I like that game a lot.
Yeah, so we can need a break, or are we good to roll in?
I'm good for a bit.
Okay.
That was a faster week than we usually handle.
Yeah, then in that case, let's take a quick word from our sponsors. this week, Castle Super Beast is sponsored by Away, the best damn suitcase you've ever had and I've ever had, and it's just a really good suitcase. This is the part of the podcast where they want me to tell you that it's a really good fucking suitcase, and it is.
It's a good suitcase.
It's really sturdy. It's got wheels that don't fall apart. I've had suitcases where the wheels have fallen apart mid-travel, and I've had to drag and scrape them on the ground and apologize to the airport, like, sorry, but I literally have no other recourse here. You know, that never happens because they're good quality wheels. They spin in every direction. The handle is there. It's snappy. It does its job. The actual interior creates enough space for your clothing to compress neatly. It has the straps to help pull that shit down. It's got a luggage it's got an extra bag for you to put your dirty clothes in when you travel, to separate that so that you can pack it separately and not have to mix your clean with your dirty on the way. It's got the battery. I've talked often about the battery. It's like an amazing charger. Recharge your phone. You don't have to fight for the plug anywhere you go. Plus, you can pop that battery out of the actual suitcase, so you don't have to also sit next to the suitcase. You can literally just put it in your pocket. It's sturdy and it's great, and it fits into the overhead compartment everywhere you're going to go. Designed to last a lifetime. Interior organization system, all that stuff I just told you about, plus a TSA approved combination lock to keep all your belongings safe. So there's a 100-day trial on everything they make. If you want to, you can give it a shot, take it on the road, try it out for 100 days, and if you don't like it for any reason, you get a full refund, no ifs, ands, or buts. Free shipping and returns on any order within the contiguous US, UK, Europe, and Canada. So start your 100-day trial and shop the entire Away lineup of travel essentials, including their best-selling suitcases, at awaytravel.com/beast. That's awaytravel.com/beast. Thanks, Away.
Thanks, Away.
This week, Castle Super Beast is also sponsored by HBO Max.
Really?
Yes. Streaming platform with all the stuff you can watch. They got Fresh Prince on that thing.
Oh, seriously? They got Fresh Prince?
You can go watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You can go watch Friends. You can go watch the Max originals.
I was talking about Friends literally 2 days ago.
Yeah?
Talking with Chat and Paige about whether or not Rachel or Ross is the biggest piece of shit on that show. And people seem to agree that it's Rachel.
I didn't watch a whole lot of Friends, but I did watch more Fresh Prince.
Man, nobody... What was her fucking name? The sister?
Yeah,
Hillary?
I know. At some point. At some point she showed up. But anyway, beyond that, of course, they've got a whole bunch of other stuff, including some of those classic DC series. In particular, personally, I would recommend checking out Batman Beyond. If you haven't watched Batman Beyond, it's really fucking good. Batman the Animated Series, of course.
Don't let its edgy 90s intro fool you. It's really good.
Super strong. You would think that the Time Jump and the Replacement Kid, would be like, yeah, I don't want this, but you totally want it. I'm telling you. Batman Beyond is great. And, you can even go and check out other series of similar quality. Justice League Unlimited is there. You can enjoy that. And all of their DC classics. So check them out. Ooh, they got Titans as well. So, sign up now with the link in the description that we're going to put. You can check out some of the best superhero content and much more only on HBO Max.
Thanks, HBO Max.
Thanks, HBO Max. This week, podcast is also sponsored by Imperfect Foods, the place that is all about taking what is otherwise rejected but is still good to go and sending it to you. Grocery stores wasting food, taking weird shaped things that are just a little off, just a little scuffed, just a little funny looking, but still delicious, still nutritious. And instead of dumping them in the trash, they send them to you. Billions of pounds of food going to waste, and they're here to stop that.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Wooly. When you're eating your food, do you chew with your mouth wide open in front of a mirror?
I do not.
Then the hell, who gives a shit what the food look like?
Who cares what it looks like?
Got an extra bump or whatever. You're just going to turn it into mush and goo in your stomach.
If my food is plated too fancy, I'm upset. That's how little I care about how it looks.
I took my parents to a fancy restaurant a couple years ago, and they were like visibly uncomfortable with the plating. Because it was too nice. They were like, you could ask Paige about it. Like, my mom and dad like didn't know what to order because it was too nice, and then they showed up and it was like all nicely plated, and they like kind of picked at it, and then I'm pretty sure my dad went out for hot dogs.
If you're serving me a treat with a circumference of about 1 inch, and the plate itself is like 20 inches. Yeah. And all that glazing that you're supposed to enjoy on the thing is too busy doing a fancy swirl on the plate. I can't eat it because it's swirled on the plate.
So I want my weird-looking messy foods. Thank you.
It doesn't even matter how it looks, and that's why Imperfect Foods is perfect for you. So
sometimes you want food that looks like when it hit the plate, it also hit the person plating it.
There you go. It still tastes great. Their mission is to eliminate food waste and build a better food system for everyone with sustainable, affordable groceries. Not just produce, but protein, eggs, dairy, pantry staples, all of that as well can be delivered straight to your door. And they got different discoveries each week you can try out that you can only get from Imperfect. All you got to do is sign up and create a flexible, personalized grocery plan, and then shop each week, get the groceries delivered straight to you. You can schedule according to whatever works best for your routine, and change it as needed. So right now, Imperfect Foods is offering our listeners 20% off your first 4 orders when you go to imperfectfoods.com, and make sure to use promo code SUPERBEAST. Try Imperfect Foods now for a limited time. Get 20% off your first 4 orders on your first order. That's imperfectfoods.com, and use SuperBeast to sign up. One more time, 20% off your first 4 orders at imperfectfoods.com. Offer code SuperBeast. Thanks, Imperfect Foods.
Thank you, Imperfect Foods.
All right. So, a couple things happened this week.
Wooly, how excited are you to hop online and play Baiken?
Oh, I was gonna go other places first, but well, one thing's for sure. The obvious guess that everyone made when they first announced the Samurai Shodown crossover character is the right one.
It's like the most obvious fucking thing in the possible world.
They didn't bork it up. Baiken is coming to Samurai Shodown. The character I play and the game that I like are coming together, so that's pretty cool. Also, it's a game of fairly limited moves for a lot of the cast. It's I would not be surprised if the translation meant her losing a lot of her kit, but based on the trailer, it looks like she's got most of everything that you would expect off of her Rev 2 version. She has Tatami Gaishi, she has Yozan-sen, she has Suzuran, she has the she has the run, she has the grappling hook, the air grappling hook, the air.
She has the guard point crap.
You know, and the different follow-ups as well. So I'm like, oh, interesting. It seems like they gave her a pretty complete looking move list. They even
I was
have
watching that trailer and I was like, is she gonna do Yosansun on the ground?
No, never. Never. It was busted. You just have to be good enough to do a Tiger Knee input for it to make it as low as possible.
Yeah.
And they even and it's really is like Rev 2 specifically, you know, because like she's got the 2H, like the big sliding slash instead of the spin blade attack. So I'm kind of curious to see if, like, I don't know, is she going to be too good because she has so much of her kit. And
I'm sure you'll be able to beat everyone online with her, buddy.
If you compare it to some of the characters with like a much smaller move list, it's just like, oh wow, she's got tools for everything. She looks good. She looks accurate. I got nothing to say about that. I can see the there's little moments where like she's doing like the little walk up in the intro, and like it's not going to play out that full poem or like that plays out in the beginning. So she just kind of like talks a little bit of shit afterwards, but they keep the effect there. And when the moon appears during her like triple slash super, it's kind of floating in a way that is not like the same way that it appears in Rev 2. So you're kind of like, yeah, they kind of dropped it in there. But anyway, looks good. I just obviously I'll enjoy her existence in this game, and then I will look around for people in my immediate vicinity who might want to play it in person, and that'll be that. No, so to be perfectly honest, I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but there is a solution, quote unquote, for Samurai Shodown online, and it's Parsec.
Yeah.
So to actually get some matches in,
that's like a manual implementation.
Yes. So fortunately, like having become a part of the tournament scene in Sam's show and making some friends and such, I feel like there's a bunch of people that are also going to be jumping on and playing and getting some games in. There's going to be discords and shit. So the Parsec solution is not a like new player friendly one, because you have to seek out your own competition outside of the game and arrange for the matches to happen. So I'm not a fan of that for the new player, but personally that's how I'm going to get my matches in.
Well, luckily the new player isn't playing Samurai Shodown, so we don't have to worry about that.
Correct. But the power of no Baiken, no buy people, the power of the like
all
the
35
people
of them.
Yeah, no. You have to You have to understand something. There are there's an ocean of Guilty Gear OGs that hate Baiken heads, like Baiken mains as they would call them, because it's like the Baiken main as a thing represents the person who doesn't actually know or play Guilty Gear. They just like the character, and they represent like a horrible part of the fan base that is just like, stop it, you don't even like the game, you just want her.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so there's a whole lot. It's possible that some of those that people who love Baiken are gonna grab Samurai Shodown and give it a shot.
I think Baiken absolutely rules, and I think she's great, but I don't play her. Why would I do that? Yeah,
well, because she's not particularly she's got a weird ass move list that you got to figure the fuck out. From day one, I remember I was like, oh, this is so weird, but we're just gonna grin and bear it. We're just gonna deal with it. And after some time, I'm just like, okay, I like what this is now. I like this counter-based
I actually like her. I don't like any of her modern designs. I like her original XX design where she looked more homeless.
Kenshin, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I like when she's like, I'm Hobo Kenshin. Totally, I feel the same way. I don't like, I don't dislike some of the glow ups in terms of like the eye patch looks pretty cool. The bunny ears, you could take it or leave it. But I do agree, like the rugged look of the original Kenshin hobo form was pretty strong as well.
I mean, I'm seeing people shocked, but like you calling me a hipster. But if you really want a hipster shithead opinion about Guilty Gear, I was having an argument with a mutual friend of ours, about how much I don't like Ino's new design.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I really dislike it.
Huh. I like it. I dig the collar pop. I think it's cool.
I also think that's cool, but I don't like how, like, she's supposed to be a sexy character, and I don't like this is the last time you're ever gonna hear me talk about like this, and I think that she's just so boring looking now. And the number one reason for that is that she's covered her shoulders.
Wow. I super disagree. I think it's taking her fashion sense and like adding some trimmings to it that are a little more like stylish in my opinion. Like the shades.
Like her hips are wider and her boobs are bigger, and she's actually wearing less clothes overall. But I'm like, eh.
The shades, the collar, and the actual like black shirt, red jacket contrast, like as a matching thing. Like I dig it. I super dig how she looks. But regardless, when it comes to Baiken, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff with the new version that's like, it's different. I still really like her new form too, but one thing that I'll always dig is whenever someone has one eye, the most badass version of an eye patch is none, just an eye closed, like Guts.
Yeah.
Right? And early Baiken was that. Early Baiken was like, yeah, she has one eye. How do you know? Because she keeps it closed and she's got a scar over it.
Yeah, and then there's the second version of that is like, it's not an eye patch, it's like longer hair that happens to cover it. And then past that is, it's still not an eye patch. It's a piece of cloth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then past that is your regular eye patch. Past that is your ornamental eye patch. And past that is my absolute most hated eye patch ever, which appears in the 3rd season of Battlestar Galactica, which is a skin tone eye patch, which I fucking hate.
So it just like looks like you have no eye?
Yep. Oh my god. Oh god, I hate it. It's played by that old man. Oh god, who you wouldn't have played Skyrim? Who plays General Tullius in Skyrim? Saul Ty. Here we go. Let's grab a fucking photo for you. Oh, it's the shittiest eye patch ever. I hate it.
Let me take a look, but
Here, I'll send it to you.
Sure. What's his name? Saul. Oh, okay. Okay.
It's like,
now
god
that's
damn
pretty
it,
ugly.
It's awful.
But I'll see you that, and I'll raise you Anthony Hopkins as Odin. Odin's golden eye patch. Do you remember that thing?
Barely.
It just looks so dumb.
Thing sucks.
It looks so dumb. Because he's wearing golden armor, so they're trying to make it look all fancy too. And it just looks lame. It's always bothered me. I hate his eye patch so much.
I saw a good contender over on my chat screen. What about sunglasses with a blacked out lens? That's classy. I like that.
I'll take that. That's fine.
That's nice. I like that.
It's a version of obscuring it.
I met a gentleman on the street the other day walking the dog. He had an eye patch, just a regular old black eye patch, and he looked like an old working man, and he looked cool as shit.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, yeah, Thor has a similar thing, but his is just black, so it just ends up looking like an eye patch without the strings, I guess. But it's fine.
A monocle patch.
There's a lot of ways to play it. But yes, the closed eye just is like a particularly like grimy fucking hardcore way to play it, and I dig that.
Hey, you know who gets a little bit of a little golf clap from me? As like, it's not the best, but it was still pretty decent. Was Kakashi just dipping his headband down a little bit.
Kakashi's a good eye patch. That's a good one.
Because there's no patch. He's just kind of I'm lazy.
Solid Eye, too much going on.
Yeah, that's way too much.
Too much going on. You know, Big Boss, sure, it's just an eye patch. Solid Eyes, yeah, there's a whole lot there. Too busy.
Big Boss gets a thumbs up for screwing up your first-person camera.
What happens?
In MGS3, once you get your eye shot out, you get a pretty strong vignette on one side of the screen if you go into first-person mode after that.
Okay.
That simulates if you were to close one of your eyes, you lose a little bit of vision on that side.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna get that butterfly.
Whatchamacallit? Drakengard 3. Flower.
Yeah, that's good.
That's an eye patch. It's a weird one, but it counts.
And I will give one character ever, a pass on their gaudy, ostentatious eye patch. And that's Goro Majima with his fucking eye patch with like a gold snake on it. Because it fits perfectly with his like absolutely goddamn hideous snakeskin coat and fucking boots.
But yeah. Anyways, all that to say, Baiken is in Samurai Shodown. I mean, for a while, there's a point where, so the trailer leaked early, and it was uploaded, I think, on the Korean version first, so people were sharing that trailer, and then there was a silhouette that was officially put out, and I think that there was a point where they're like, what if it's Angie and he's holding an umbrella behind him, and that big hair poof is actually just that or one of the fans, and it's like Angie, Baiken, Nago Ryuki, those would all work for Samurai Shodown, but that's about it. You gotta be a samurai, or at least something sort of from that era, and perhaps even if you're not a samurai, then at least be Japanese, I guess, to fit in with the theme. But they also have got the warden in there, so at some point you're kind of just okay, it's a Soul Calibur rule.
I guess. Not feeling it.
Well, I'm just glad that they didn't do the what the fuck are you talking about? Branding. We're putting Soul Bad Guy in Sam Show.
Oh, dude, I totally disagree. They should have put Justice in there.
Oh my god.
But I like my tonal nightmare shit. I want the guest character to be fucking stupid.
I would honestly accept a version of any version of Justice coming back, since it feels like that's never going to happen.
What are you talking about?
Justice?
That's next up on the docket.
Okay. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna continue what I was saying. Oh god, yeah, okay. No.
I thought you're supposed to be the Guilty Gear man. Oh boy.
Okay, so
next you're gonna tell me you don't understand the joke behind the universal will.
So I saw a lot of people talking about the whole check it out, Arya is in it now and shit like that. And it's the whole point of her Strive story is that she's not Arya. and that she's not Justice. Her whole thing is that she has her own identity. So the whole like shoving them all together as the same person is what she expects people to do, but she like gets erased as a person when you do that. So that's literally her thing. So it's like she's Jacko. That's the point of her story, is that she's not them, you know?
They put Justice in the new Guilty
They
Gear.
put Justice in the new Guilty.
Her hair is red like Justice.
Like everyone that's going like, yo, oh shit, it's the Arya thing. Checking out Arya's and all. So I'm like, okay, so literally like the story's about her. She's not other people. She gets to be herself, you know? Like it's the most meaningful thing like that she can do is when like Soul literally goes, hey, I've never called you Arya or anything else. I've only called you Jacko, you know? So anyway, yes. DLC 2 is...
That's Soul's wife. He thought about her.
It's not the wife.
Think about wife. Kill wife. Why fight back? There it is. Bam, bim, bam, boom.
Life good. Joke funny. Think about wife. Joke funny. Jacko
Wife
and
changed name. Still wife.
Alright. Well, anyway, the new Jacko has arrived, and yeah, I definitely I'm like looking at this. It's like, okay, so from the moment you see her, you see her in the story mode and all that, you're like, okay, she's here. There, she'll probably show up, but you can't possibly keep her the same. And if you're a Jacko player, you have to set your expectations to be completely different, because the housing system that she brought to Rev was so ridiculously like unbeginner friendly, and also like it represents like one of the wackiest kind of designs non-conventional fighting game characters ever made, because she's meant to be a send-off to MOBAs.
Yeah, so I follow a gentleman YouTuber named Leon Massey, who
He's a good
is
channel.
a huge fan of Guilty Gear.
Good channel.
Yeah, he's got a great channel. I love his channel. I got into it based on his Jump Arc video. And every time Jacko comes up on a screen, he starts to like get super mad, and like he hates that character so much. Because she's just an RTS MOBA freak character. I've never played as Jacko, but apparently she's just spawning units like a fucking Command and Conquer base.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen any of her like?
I've seen it. Yeah, and it looks like a mess.
Because basically the deal is you put down a bunch of houses that spawn units, right? So, okay, so there's this operating theory, just to go back, that the Ramlethal sisters are like homages to genres, because Elle felt it represents an homage to FPSs with all her guns, right? And
marriage.
Sure. and Jack O represents like Overture or RTSs and things like that.
Yeah,
because
and Guilty Gear. Just
so you put down a bunch of fucking houses, and each house will automatically generate minions that will float around and attack you, right? And then when you wait long enough or you do other things to interact with them, they level up, and then the units get stronger, and then they flood the screen. Yes, Ramlethal represents Tekken as an homage. She has the diagonal attacks and
really?
normals. She's supposed to homage like the operating theory is that she homages Tekken with her.
That's a cool idea. She
with
should
her,
be in Tekken,
because she has normals that are like Tekken style inputs. Yes. You end up with a screen that eventually fills up with a bunch of fucking like what lanes or creep or whatever the fuck, like minions that are flood the
lanes.
Yeah, and then
you're
fighting alongside them as Jacko, and your goal is to essentially use her to, fight. She's okay, but she's not particularly amazing. But if you let those houses level up, they will get overwhelmed, and she's like the scariest character in the game almost.
This feels like like a more controllable, like visually understandable version of like Arakune's flood the screen with bullshit character style,
bugs and shit. Yeah. So in this case though, like it's not just putting the houses down. You pick them up and you relocate them on the screen for advantage. That's so
stupid.
You pick up the houses and throw them around the screen while you're fighting. And occasionally, when you get a chance to back off, you can pull out her keyboard and control them to do other things to improve them, their rates and such. And while you're standing around them, you're gaining tension.
You're going to play Guilty Gear 2 whether you like it or not.
It's fucking crazy, right? She's such a nutty character. So she's micromanaging her minions while she's fighting. And she also introduces, like, in that game, Dust was not as multi-utility as it is in Strive, because it wasn't a throw button as well. It was just launch and sweep. But for her, every direction with Dust becomes a different special. So she has...
Oh, that's nice.
She has a hit grab. She has a big Izuna drop. She's got the launch, the sweep. Like she's got a reversal and then an air dive kick and an air projectile, all off of Dust. So I'm looking at all that and I'm like, okay, just the Dust button doesn't work for what Strive needs. And then the housing system doesn't make any sense for new players at this point when you're bringing the game out and kind of like stripping it down in these ways. They can't possibly keep her intact. And so, what we see in this trailer is a different ass version of her that's going to pull out one minion and kick it at you. And I guess she's going to have like 3 that'll float around and she can do things with them, But if she's going to basically venom them into position and knock them into each other. But like, if you're looking for the old Jacko, if you played the old Jacko, you can't expect any of that to come back because it's the weirdest shit ever. So anyway,
this cat smells. I'm holding a cat and he's smelly.
It seems like she's Gargo style, pulling out the minions, knocking them into each other, and they'll probably level up in other ways. And it seems like I saw at one point she has an anti-projectile field, like an Aegis field that I think is going to come off of the minion. And what is probably most interesting is the way the trailer shows her mask sometimes being on and sometimes being off, which might indicate, if it's not just a cosmetic, that she has 2 forms. And
one form is old Jacko and the others is Arya.
Yeah.
Right there.
So there's a taunt where she pulls it off, but like you see there's points in the early part of the trailer where she's fighting with the mask on, and then you see her towards the end of the trailer with the mask off, and it has little things like trick or treat, no, trick and treat, right? And in the story, Jacko, because she's incomplete, always had 2 voices, so it's less clear in English. If you watch the dub, and you're gonna get it, but you're not gonna hear it as clearly as you do in the Japanese voice acting, where she switches between like a child voice and an adult voice, right? And there's a bunch of line reads where she seamlessly goes from one into the other because she's
I heard some of that in the English read.
Yeah, because she's mentally incomplete from when she was like created, and as a result, she has the childlike personality, and then like the scientist that is also in there. So,
which do you think is the one that comes out when she takes her normal pills?
Oh no, I don't think there's any No, there's no dream music playing for Jacko. But the mask might be the like a child mode versus an adult mode, you know? And I think it's possible that it'll affect her move list in some way. If it's like stances, that'd be rad. It could just be cosmetic, but it would be really like nice to have some depth in that form. If you're taking away the houses, then you give Jacko players like something else to sink into, you know? You're enjoying your
I'm not going to play that character.
Your normals reference, your normals pills reference.
The normal pills, man. That's the point. Like, we're sitting here and we don't know what the point of the mask is. But really, we do know what the point of the mask is.
In story, in plot, the reason for it is because it's because the child needs some enclosure to feel more comfortable in the world. So like that's actually like
that's what the mask is.
That's the in-story reason for it. Anyway, so that's cool.
Well, I'm sure our friend Leon, who is a big Venom fan, will be thrilled to see this as Venom's replacement.
Ah. Yeah. I mean, now to be fair, and that's always the trademark of Wooly about to say something, but
yeah.
I don't know, how do you feel about plot having its effect on the gameplay in such a way where Venom had his ending? He is now living another life peacefully.
I don't care. I don't think there's a genre that anyone could care less.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, Scorpion got his revenge, and then he never came back to Mortal Kombat ever again. Like, Venom, if you want to say, hey, Scorpion's got a new move, or whatever.
Venom is running a bakery with RoboKai, and they're living their best life. Would you deny them that happy ending?
Yeah, absolutely, because the story in a fighting game is literally like filler to justify their purpose on the roster.
Yeah, can be. But anyway,
there's an old quote about story in video games is like story in a porno. I think it's a John Romero quote. It's like it's you don't need it, but it's nice to have it, or something like that. Story in a fighting game exists to get people in the room. You don't need to have a story as to why they're in the room. But the idea that, like, well, Venom hung up his pool cue and said he'll never fight again. Who fucking cares? A ghost told him to do it. There, done.
I mean, we've had versions of this. To me, I'm just like, yeah, whatever you want to do. If you want to bring him back, bring him back. You don't. You want to do a new version of him. You want to do an alternate version of him. You want to do a different anything. You want to have homage move-wise, or just don't ever do it again. That's fine, too. New things are good. I have no problem. Old things are good.
I don't think for a second that they would have not put Venom in because they wrote him a story. I don't think the Guilty Gear staff is like that. I think if they really wanted Venom to be there, they would have come up with some justification, just like how King and Tekken keeps needing more money for that orphanage until Armor King dies.
Yeah.
But so I remember the 343 people, the Halo people, talking about stuff they wanted to do in the games, but it went against like the Halo Bible, and just how stupid that is.
So,
like, canon isn't a rule book to stop you from having cool ideas.
No, if realistically, if they absolutely wanted, they definitely could like make a version of that like work. But It depends. Like, I feel like, okay, Zappa is a better example of a character where you have more material to work with, right? Zappa coming back would be super interesting because Zappa has become a completely different person in the story at this point.
Yeah.
So the version of him that you remember where he's all possessed and crazy with the ghosts and shit is like a while ago. And now he's a super like intelligent paranormal investigator that understands the fuck out of all things supernatural and has control over them, right? So if he came back as somebody who has like completely dominated his apparitions and is using them consciously, that would be a really interesting version of the character.
Yeah, you could do two versions. You could bring Zappa back and have him be, I mean, superficially similar. Like he'd have a similar type of move, but it wasn't a big angry
but he's
ghost.
Become someone else.
Right? Or you could have Boppo.
Sure.
Who was also just happened to be attacked by the same ghosts. Oh, wow, what a coincidence.
New 13, Lambda 14, New 12, Lambda 13.
Yeah, they actually already did that. They had like 5 characters that were all the same character, but were all different people.
Kyo Kusanagi, Kyo 1, Kyo 2, Kusanagi. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one's the real one? The real one's the one that says Kyo Kusanagi on it, guys.
You know, we've done this before. Yeah, you can do whatever you want with it. But if you were to get Venom back in this point, he would his hair would be tied back. He'd be dressed as a baker. He'd be a lot more polite.
That's
perhaps.
Cool. I think that would actually be really cool.
And he'd be.
Is there a baking implement that is functionally and structurally similar to a pool cue?
Maybe if he teamed up with Jam for a half bakery, half Chinese food restaurant.
We have to go
into business together.
We need to go fight the government because they're not giving us a liquor license for our bakery restaurant. Go. Good enough.
Anyway. Yeah, I think if you're a Jacko fan, you're probably like gonna be like, you know, you're gonna have to relearn your character, which is never a particularly like super fun thing, but considering how out there she was, it just makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
When they brought Blanca back around in 5, I was like, fuck him up, fam. What are you gonna like? If he has anything resembling what he used to, like I'll you know, sure, that'll be fine. And you know, they changed a lot about him.
Blanca also represents like a really good version of what we're talking about with storyline. I'm like, what's Blanca's story in SF5? He's trying to sell like action figures.
Yeah, you know, Blanca-chan, whatever. But I also was like, yeah, he could just literally not come back. You know, that's a thing too. I was expecting them to focus on the characters that never made it back from Alpha and Third Strike. And that never made it into 4, you know? And they did to a degree, but they left a lot on the table with those. But anyway, that's Jacko.
I'm glad they were finally able to balance justice for competitive play.
I mean, they did in the last version of Accent Core, but it was not. It was not fun to fight, nonetheless. Yeah, they tried to make Cliff and Justice like nerfed versions, but they're still fucking.
That's not fun. I think the only version of that character that I actually really liked was Gargos in Killer Instinct, because even though he wasn't like actually boss strong, it sure felt like it. Like with the fists and the minions and all that.
Yeah, he's super cool. Justice could just fill the screen up with like 4 or 5 slow moving projectiles and then just like full screen dash if you come too close.
Cool.
And it was a problem. but she's so rad. I want her back anyway. I just want that design.
Is.
But the other thing too is even when they showed like the plot like character, they went with the armorless version. So like that armor itself is already like gone, you know. Anyway, there was
what else
also,
we got this week?
Well, since we're talking about the fighting game stuff, I'll just bring up a shout out to a really cool video, by Hold Back to Block. What are the worst matchups in fighting games?
Oh, that's such a. I hit that on, and the instant I start watching it, I'm like, fucking Sagat Zangief better be it. Oh, it's the first one.
Zangief Seth, you mean?
Oh yeah, well, good enough. Same thing.
Zangief Seth is the true 9-1, 10-0 match in Street Fighter 4. Like, absolutely nothing to be done. But it gets so much worse than that.
Iori Chin's the one that I couldn't believe. I had never heard of it. And
yeah,
it was
so there's a video.
Like...
So Hold Back to Block, the best of on, just put out this video. And I appreciate it as someone who kind of looks at this and the style of it, and I'm like, I like that Fighterpedia energy, you know, going down. I like it a lot. This is a great video that just explores some of the worst matchups in all of fighting games. And Zangief versus Seth is the one you knew about that was like, yeah, it's particularly insane because Seth just does everything and Zangief does nothing, and there's
everything
nothing you can do.
I can do better, and I can do everything more than you.
And if you think you can try to maybe get something going, I have like 8 things I can do to get away from it.
Including Zangief's own moves.
But it stops being about like, oh, that's a really hard fight very quickly. Because like, yeah, you mentioned Iori versus Chin from KOF 97. Or was it 96? I forget. But it's one of the KOF games where there's a stage that you specifically jump off of, like a little uplifted area, and you land 95, thank you. So you jump off of the fucking stage top and you land on the ground, but the fight doesn't start until you jump off, but the different characters jump at different heights. So Chin floats longer than Iori does, and that means that by the time it's ready to go and you can move, Iori can do his like Rekka and catch Chin out of the air 100% of the time, every time, and
go into an infinite
in Italy, and like he can carry him to the corner and just wreck him immediately 100% of the time, you know. So yeah, like it's a great one.
And that's like number 2 or 3, and it goes even more busted from there. Just like purely unwinnable, broken matchups.
Well, that's like the later on in the list. Actually, that's pretty much the.
Well, I'm thinking of the X-Men one.
That's second to last. Iori versus Chin is last, but yeah, second to last is you got that X-Men shit. Sabretooth versus Gambit. Like. Sabretooth has an air command grab that basically there's some weird fucking bug with it that allows it to work
under any circumstances,
but on Gambit it's particularly oppressive. There's a couple of details about it.
It's a command grab that doesn't work properly, and you don't need to touch them for it to work, and it chains into itself. But also, Gambit has a bug where he can't move at the start of round 2 and 3.
That's what it was. Exactly.
So he just instant loses.
So that's it. Gambit can't move, and this command grab, which teleports you from anywhere into his hands, is completely unavoidable. And for Gambit especially, there's nothing you can do but eat the move for the whole round. There's no game. It's not a bad matchup. There's no game to play. You know,
I love
it's a great video, so go check that out. Shout out to Hold Back to Block. Fucking Injustice 1 zoning is not fun. It's just not fun. I legitimately had fun initially playing as Solomon Grundy in that game. I enjoyed a lot of, you know, his grappling and shit like that. And then you just find out like, oh no, if Superman or if Zod or if fucking Cyborg just want to stand back and make you work for the clock, you're going to do nothing but work for the clock. Hope you get a touch. Hope you don't fuck up. Yeah.
Well, what do you expect from the game that brought us the wonderful world of Pig Advantage?
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Pig Advantage. It cracks me up.
A couple other things. We got a pretty good look, thanks to the new trailer, at Bomb Rush Cyberfunk now. And we can see that it's not just skates, it's also skateboarding. And this game is fucking coming along great. Looks incredible. I think it was shown off as part of the Nintendo trailers that they were just pumping up this week. Hideki Naganuma gets his shout out officially on a Nintendo trailer. And yeah, man, Team Reptile just doing it. It's kind of embarrassing at this point, because adding skateboarding also like makes me like it brings a little bit of that like Tony Hawk gameplay fun that I particularly enjoy to the situation. And in the meantime, Jet Set Radio News is they're putting a little beat Monkey Ball character in the new Monkey Ball game. So
that's nice.
You can roll that ball around and collect paint cans. So yeah, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. Everybody fucking go take a look. This thing looks super badass. Yeah, it's got the Steam wishlist page going up as well. We can also officially declare that Knuckles is now allowed to say the N-word officially.
But that's not the real question, Wooly. The question is, will he call Tails the N-word?
I don't imagine. But Idris Elba has announced that he will be playing Knuckles in Sonic 2.
That's like high-end casting.
Amazing.
For Knuckles.
I can't believe they went that far. That's really, that's above pay grade, above expectations on what you needed. There's a lot of people that could have played a good Knuckles, but they really didn't have to go that hard for it.
I was talking with Paige and Eli about it, and Eli didn't want to talk about it, but we roped him into the conversation anyway. And it was just this interesting conversation about, like, what fucking voice is Idris Elba going to use? And we played around with the idea that he would just use his regular ass speaking voice.
I really hope he keeps the accent. I really, really do. It would be so great for him to just be British ass Knuckles now.
Oh,
straight out of London. Mm-hmm.
There's no way. It's like, I remember watching Luther and having moments of like, this is supposed to be dramatic, and I don't know. I just don't know what these fucking people are saying.
I want it to just be thick and as Idris as he wants it to be. Don't even try to like stringer bell it. don't try to dumb it down and make it sound, Western. It's fucking Knuckles, mate. Just go all in with it, and like maybe the whole planet of like Echidnas is British. That's what it is now.
That'd be a weird swing.
They're all Snatch. They're all just like, yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Not much it's
That's the last movie I saw in the theater, and that distinction will remain for what I'm going to assume is a while. So
also,
I'm glad it was. And that, oh man, do you think
if
Knuckles
I'm
is
not,
gonna eat an Olive Garden?
unless I'm mistaken, this will be the first movie featuring Idris Elba and the fucking
Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah. Well, that'd be fun.
He's like, he represents a different era of movies entirely.
Yeah, he really does. Can we get some? We saw some tasteful memery in that first movie. Can we see some like? Can we please just get a zoom in on Tails' fucking face, just shocked and a little misshapen? I will cry. I will cry so hard.
I know they want, like, all of these movies want to pay homage to memes, but I don't think they want to pay homage to memes that are shitpost comics of their property.
I don't know, man.
I think they want to, like, I think, like, anything that is official and untouched, it has a much better chance. It's much, I think it, I imagine, like, the weird Sonic Underground shit where they start like melting and becoming weird sizes and falling off the cliff. That has a better chance.
I want to see the movie review in which somebody describes that Tails got trolled and some kid in the theater started losing their mind and had to leave the theater. I want to see Knuckles call Sonic some fucking name that we don't know what it means, and then Sonic says, "I'm not mad, I'm going to go have sex with my girlfriend now to show you how not mad I am."
That's stupid.
I want Shadow to talk about how he broke all his bones in the time prison.
We'll see. I hope so. I
think that's the hard. You remember when I showed you Tails?
Wait, who's playing Tails?
Some fucking guy.
It's just somebody, right? Is it somebody or is it somebody?
I don't know.
Okay.
I want Eggman to piss on the moon.
Oh, they haven't announced. Okay, I see.
No, just thinking about last week, and like, what if Knuckles eats too much at Olive Garden and just throws up outside the Olive Garden? And then Sonic goes, "That's why they call it the never-ending pasta bowl, Knuckles. You shouldn't have." Oh no. Okay. All right.
All of those plus full Guy Ritchie
What?
accent.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And then a couple other things.
Oh my god.
Apparently, in 2023, they're going to be making an Alien TV show.
Sure, whatever. Just like the last one.
Well, that's...
Yeah, I'll totally believe it when I'm watching it.
I mean, they made a Terminator show. That's, you know, at some point.
Nah, that was a dream.
It happened. It happened. It had the girl from Firefly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is apparently as well being developed by Noah Hawley, who did the Legion TV show and the Fargo TV show. I hear Legion's good, and I know Fargo's good.
Well, I mean, if you want to do an alien TV show that I would like, just adapt the Dark Horse comics that came with those fucking action figures and go to different planets where the xenomorph is at. And then, this one, it attacked a bunch of bulls and only flamethrowers work. Or this one's a bunch of scorpion freaks and they explode when they die. Yada, yada.
Well, I'll stomp that in the nuts immediately because it takes place on Earth.
Oh, that's so stupid! The whole Alien franchise is premise one. If they get to Earth, it's the end of the world. That's the ending of Alien fucking Resurrection.
So
they blow up like North America so that the alien doesn't land on it.
He's commented on why it's set on Earth. Because alien stories are always trapped in a prison, trapped in a spaceship. I thought it'd be interesting to open it up a little bit so that the stakes of what happened if you can't contain it are now more immediate. Yeah. And then it goes on about the older movies
they answered
and such
the question
a bit.
in AVP Requiem, and the answer is the government would nuke the town like it's Raccoon City. That's actually the direct answer to that question.
All I know
and even
is
that's a reference to Return of the Living Dead.
Most important of all the details about the show is it will not touch Ripley's character at all.
You know why, right? There's a long-standing good reason for why they don't want to have Ripley in this.
So, I mean, the reason given is because her story is told perfectly and he doesn't want to mess with it.
All right, you want to know what the real reason is?
Uh-huh.
Because after Alien Resurrection, they approached Sigourney Weaver about doing another Alien movie, and she's like, okay, give me a shit zillion fucking dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Not wanting to do another Alien movie, she intentionally picked numbers they wouldn't pay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been that way for, like, decades.
That's how you save it. That's how you protect it. If you can't stop them from making it, then you ask for stupid, I'll never do it money.
I think right after Resurrection, they asked her, and she's like, I want $40 million. And this was, like, fucking 97 or some shit. And they were like, fucking no. Will you negotiate? She's like, no.
What about...
I don't want to do the movie.
Do you think... Yeah, no, even if it's your likeness and they do a big CG, like, creepy thing, like Disney, they still have to pay you for your likeness, even if it's from their thing. So, can she protect it? I guess as long as she's around, she can protect it. Yeah, okay.
Now, don't worry. You know whose story isn't finished? Ellen Ripley Jr. Now, I know in Aliens, she totally died. But what if she had kids?
Clone.
Oh, no, they're not going to do that again. That was
But you do it again. You did it before, you do it again. Do whatever the fuck you want. They'd find a reason. They'd find a way.
Oh, man, and it's crazy. You know, my great-grandma used to use these power loaders back in the day. Weird that there's one sitting here in this old Weyland-Yutani cargo bay. Now, let's walk past it every 2 episodes so that it's taking up the right 1/3 of the shot in golden ratio view.
Of all
I swear to God, I fucking swear to God, you're going to see a power loader in the background. It's going to be a relic. And they're going to be like, oh, what's this old thing doing here?
Yeah. You know, I think of all the franchises that are like the crossover like franchises, Terminator, RoboCop, Alien, Predator, I feel like Terminator gets it the worst because they just refuse to let it sit for more than like 3 years tops.
Terminator gets it the worst because Terminator 2 was a perfect movie. And so right off the bat, you're going to run into a problem with anything that's trying to follow up what is a perfect movie. And more than that is that, like, T2 accidentally created a formula that sucks. And the formula is the new Terminator must be mechanically superior to the old Terminator in some way, which immediately sucked ass.
But also, like, the whole series is about time travel, so it has infinite shit sequel potential.
Yeah.
You can tell infinite shit stories that never end up happening as long as the timeline corrects itself. It's the perfect shit cow, you know? But yeah, I feel like they get that, they probably get it the worst. Anyway, we'll see what happens in 2 years' time.
Sure we will.
Again, I will say I liked Fargo, and I hear Legion is pretty good, but who the fuck knows?
I don't have any experience with either of those, but I hear good things.
New Call of Duty announced. Whatever.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Vanguard.
Whatever.
Back to
you
World
got
War
the Dead by Daylight crap on there?
Nope.
Dead by Daylight announced this morning that due to some rights shenanigans, Demogorgon and Steve and Nancy will be leaving the game on November 17th.
Ooh. Oh, no. Oh, you hate to see it.
So, they'll be leaving. If you have them,
licensing,
you'll keep them, and you can buy them half off until that time. Their stage will be leaving forever, which sucks because the level's pretty good. It's a good map. I like it.
Can they replace it with the semi-Blorgan, as you would do?
No, apparently not. But here's the worst part, the absolute worst part. So you may have remember me telling you that killers and survivors in Dead by Daylight have teachable perks that you unlock as part of their progression.
Oh, fuck.
That become possibly meta.
They will
with
be
combinations
gone
of
forever.
other killers. Well, don't worry, Wooly. They won't be gone forever. If you own the characters, you'll keep the characters and you can, get the perks forever. But if you happen to start playing Dead by Daylight after, let's say, Demogorgon is gone forever, then their 3 basic perks will sometimes show up in the Shrine of Secrets thing that you can buy perks with your fancy level up juice that rotates once a week. So if you want, I don't know, Surge, which is Demogorgon's one good perk, and you start playing after November 17th, and they'll have the perk on there, obviously, that week, just for people who missed it. You may have to wait somewhere between, I don't know, 3 months and a year for it to show up once. And hope you catch it! It's the worst. It's technically still going to be attainable in the game, but
that's brutal. That's
like, it sucks.
Unlicensed DLC is like annihilating. Is meta annihilating. Like, what a horrible thing to have to deal with. Content that has to go away, that you've like not only guest starred but implemented and balanced around.
So here's the worst part, and I really hope that people who play Dead by Daylight complain a lot. There is no reason. So there is no reason duplicates of these perks that are like Burge or Gurge or whatever, I'm using Surge as an example, couldn't be created and then just slotted into the default always available perk. Like, selection, like not the ones attached to characters, just the default one. Other than the fact that it very, very strongly incentivizes you to buy them for 50% off from now until November 17th. There is a huge stink on this to me of the perks will be kind of you could get them, but if you really want them, you should buy it right now so that you just doesn't go away in time, and it's on sale too. You should get it.
So I'm not sure what the full deal is, but I think I'm seeing here that like Rocket League also deals with a bunch of guest licensed shit that shows up and leaves constantly.
Yeah, but I was under the assumption that the Rocket League stuff is
cosmetic only.
Cosmetic,
I would assume
like
so.
Every live service game has cosmetics that go away.
Yeah,
this
has actual characters,
gameplay. This is like a gun in a shooter.
Man, that's rough. And like they couldn't work it out. They just couldn't come to, you know.
What's weird is that Stranger Things just got a different deal for, for Smite. Stranger Things was just in Smite's Battle Pass in July.
Not to mention that other mobile game.
Yeah, and it's like a Battle Pass kind of makes more sense because that's naturally timed, right? Like it's wrong, but
yeah,
what a stupid mess.
You got like I feel like you should have. You can't ever like like licensing these days works in such a way where you'll never be able to have it like just like a full on blah. What am I trying to say? The Days of Soul Calibur inclusion where it's like, yeah, it's in there forever and that's all there is to it, and we never look at this again. Those days are gone. Live service things that constantly make money are going to continue to have deals that need to be updated, but like you gotta have some contingency in place for like that, or you can just not care about how it affects the meta. You know, you could just literally just be like, yeah, but it's legal, so who cares? We're not going to get into that trouble. But that is awful. I hate to fucking hear it. That's
so. In order to cut people off of the pass, because some people are saying that they've already said that there will be generic perks. Let me read the direct quote from the game's FAQ on the subject. What will happen to the teachable perks? The perks for Steve, Nancy, and the Demo Gorgon will remain available to earn on those characters, and with new versions of these teachables being made available in the Shrine of Secrets to all players. Yes, they will be having generic perks, and you'll have to get them off the goddamn roulette wheel that is the fucking store. Like, it is the worst way they could have possibly handled this. They should just give everyone those equivalent perks by default.
I unironically think that they should also have generic characters that have the abilities that you're losing.
They may not be able to do that.
I mean, you can't stop them from making two kids and a monster that do whatever they want.
I don't know if they can. Like, I don't know what they signed.
The stage would be the biggest problem.
Yeah, the stage.
Because the stage is a big area of assets that are all tied to this brand.
And it's a unique thing, and it has the portal on
for
one
sure,
side.
For sure. But you can totally just fucking two kids and a monster. They got the things. Whatever. Here they are. And everybody knows what they are. And we just, that's it. And then you keep,
now, the
gameplay aspect intact.
There is only one genuine positive to this story. And that's that the Demogorgon in Dead by Daylight sucks ass.
So it's not it doesn't matter as much then?
Like it's not Freddy. It's not
but if one of the major characters was lost from the game, like that'd be huge.
There's a couple that are in there that if they got like Freddy Krueger is probably the one that if it like got kicked out would be a disaster because Freddy's good, and it's Freddy Krueger.
Of course,
it's like a marquee get. It's like a huge deal.
Now, stories like this do sometimes have a way of coming back around in the next couple of weeks and getting updated and going, yeah, we figured it out. We paid them the money. Here, it's back and it's fine. So
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Has this happened before with any other characters?
The only thing that is similar to this in this space is everything to do with the Jason game.
Which is a separate game entirely.
Which, yeah, it's a separate game, but it's just like the nightmare that it was to get that off the ground and deal with the fact that the Jason license is a fucking mess.
What if they got like the Cabin in the Woods license, which then gives them the license to do whatever the fuck they want?
Yeah, I guess.
You just, what if you just fucking 4D chess it a little bit? Massage that.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it sucks. This is shit. It's poop. I don't like it.
Okay. We also have rumors that GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas remakes are in development.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I like those games a lot. I like Vice City and San Andreas way more than any of the modern GTA games.
Apparently, they're being done in UE with a mixture of old and new graphics, heavily modded versions of the games you remember. So, yeah, it might actually end up being like a different feeling version of the game, like on their
I can't wait.
Newer system.
I can't wait to see the article that's like, here's the tracks that won't be coming back to Vice City or San Andreas.
Oh boy.
Because we just talked about like monster movie licenses. Holy shit. Let's talk about 80s and 90s music licenses.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's fucking Rockstar.
Yeah. If anybody would get it, it would probably.
They'd just do it. Like, they just fucking spend and do it. I imagine. Although, yeah, like, I can't imagine it's gonna be all three dropping like simultaneously. Like it feels
no, they'd be staggered and they'd each be like $40, and then people are gonna be like, and GTA 3 will be out for longer separately from the other two because people are like, I'm not playing $40 fucking for GTA 3. I want to play fucking Vice City or San Andreas.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a good excuse for me to like actually fucking go through San Andreas, if anything, because 3 was the only one that I really actually like spent time with, and the originals.
San Andreas fucking rules. Except for that train. Big Smoke can go to fucking hell. All I had to do was catch the train, you fucking piece of shit.
Okay, and then we got one here that is pretty fucking cool. Garden of Eyes, the modder behind the Dark Souls 3 first-person mod, has now created a Bloodborne first-person mod.
Looks cool. Looks like kind of a nightmare to play. Ha ha ha. But does look really cool to be able to see those environments from the first person.
So here's why this is so fucking impressive, right? One, it's a console game that like, you know, you don't see as many mods because of the fact that it's not on PC, right? To begin with. But the fact that it's not just a first-person mod, but it's actually putting in like floating hands in a Alex kind of way, almost like VR controls, and it has like your gun and your weapon, and it has you like using them in a way that like you can you're not just like shitty sliding around a camera not knowing what you're doing, but your buttons are going to do like things based on muscle memory. It actually has floating hands so that like if you were learning how to play or doing any of this, like you could actually kind of figure it out. And the trailer shows off a lot of boss fights that worked way better than I would have imagined staring at them in first person. Like if you were to just tell me, yeah, there's a first person mod, I'd be like, that'd be horrible. You couldn't play it. And seeing it, it's like, oh shit, no, like you can maneuver and get around and do most of the fights, like staring at the boss and keeping your eyes on them and playing in first person. But I imagine fights against like ROM or fights where you get blindsided by shit behind you would become ridiculously like hard. You know, and there's not most of the fights, but there's a couple where like it would just be like, hope you already knew how to fight this from regular Bloodborne, because this is just not going to be fair in first person.
Anybody playing this is going to know how to play regular Bloodborne. So the Garden of Ice put out a statement. It's like, hey, if you want to see a certain streamer stream this, let me know. I'd love to contact them. And, you know, like I saw Max got tagged, and eventually through a thread I got tagged in it. And I looked at it. I was like, wow, that looks great. I can't wait to hop on my jailbroken PS4 that I don't have and load this fucker up.
Yeah. Little bit of a prohibitive hardware requirement. And you always kind of cross your fingers and go like, maybe there's some kind of like stick a USB stick in and then it'll just go. Maybe they figured out.
eBay.
Yeah. Well, on the plus side, if you've got a 5, then you're not using your 4, so you know you can just do that and not lose anything. But
I seriously doubt my PS4 could be modded because it's up to date.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the process involves or how it goes.
The process for me will involve finding somebody who played through it and skimming around to see some of the boss fights.
Well, the footage of the trailer looks really cool, and again, I just appreciate that they went further than sticking the camera in place and calling it a day.
So what's interesting is that in the description they described that one of the reasons they were able to do this was that From Software's camera system is the same amongst every game they've made for like the past 10-15 years. So they basically just took their Dark Souls 3 camera mod and just ported it into Bloodborne.
It worked from Demon Souls, and then all the way forward to Sekiro, they had very little problems implementing it each time. So they're basically going, we're already preparing to drop it in Elden Ring. Yeah.
Which I bet Elden Ring is going to get modded a bunch with cool shit.
I can imagine. And here's the other cool thing is, in addition to that, it's also compatible with the 60 FPS patch.
Yeah, which would be nice if that patch that a individual made could somehow be made by the developer and put into the game.
Would be nice, but in the meantime, here we are. So you can combine the two.
They fucking patched it.
I mean, honestly, like the frame rate update plus first person is a unique ass experience of the game that like would be worth doing for sure. But yep, you gotta get a modded console to get it going, I guess. I mean, look, man, with enough hard work and dedication and fucking just absolute degeneracy, they were able to get like Project M to a state where it was like, yeah, just put in a memory card on your GameCube and then you're good to go. You soft mod.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Things do happen when enough people degen together.
That's true. Pardon me. Pardon me.
Let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's not a real letter. That's an electronic mail.
Mm-hmm. If you want to write in and tell us about the power of group degeneration, that's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
What do we got?
First one comes to us from Dr. Wolf. Says, "Hey, Mad and boy. So recently I got into a big argument with some dumb mind goblins my friend has, as he wanted to get into Monster Hunter World and Iceborne. It was on sale on Steam. He picked it up.
Right.
I'm a big fan ever since I was a kid, so I tried to help him get in. But the problem is that Iceborne comes with quality of life features that kind of ruined my friend's experience getting into the game for the first time. In order to get to the Iceborne content ASAP, DLC has a super OP set of gear that's available from the very start. Helps you beat the base game faster. My friend playing the game for the first time sees it in his box and goes, well, it's the best gear by a lot, so I guess I should use it. I tried to warn him what it was for, and that he was essentially removing the entire hunting crafting loop, which was the big appeal of the game. He gets this, but he says it makes the most sense for him to use the best gear available to him. So, as such, he played for a little while, killed some early monsters really, really easily, got bored, and dropped it before he even reached 2-star hunts. I think if he had played World without the Iceborne to start, he might have gotten into it. So, ever play something where the quality of life actively ruins it for someone you know?
I turn off almost every pre-order weapon I can, and if I can't turn it off, I literally throw most of them away.
Pre-order consumables and things like that. It's something that, like, yeah, there's a couple times where you just, like, I don't even know going in to whatever the thing is that it's like, oh, that's an extra based on the version of the game you got or whatever. Like, yeah. That's I think, like, that stuff is always going to be there because it's a, you know, it's a pre-order incentive or whatever. It's a business model that has become very common. I think what the games should do is just have a very clear message the first time you know, unlock all of that shit. Like, I know how for example, in Demon Souls, they're just sitting in your box, but in, like, Yakuza, you got to go talk to Bob to get them. You know, so you should just have something in place where it's like the moment you go to get any of that pre-order stuff or whatever it is, you warn the player that, hey, this is meant to catch up experienced players. It's not meant for your first time experience, you know?
Yeah, and that was specifically because Iceborne was a DLC thing. So, like, the intended path was to play Monster Hunter World and then beat Monster Hunter World and then go buy Iceborne.
Now,
right? But,
yeah,
like, if they're both on sale, it's not going to work like that. It was short-sighted. I think the worst one ever, because I played a lot of games that have this problem.
Well, MMOs do this all the time, don't they?
No, what are you talking about?
I guess what I'm reminded of is new MMO thing comes out, and then there's a potion to just zip you up to whatever level.
Yeah, that's World of Warcraft.
Okay, is that the only thing that does that?
Pretty much.
Destiny
like buying the deluxe thing. Oh, Destiny does do it.
Destiny had something like this that you guys were telling me about.
But Destiny does it for one character, and crazy people always have 3 characters anyway. So
okay, well, I'm just going off of what I've heard over the years about, like, catching back up to the new content.
People are mentioning FF14. FF14 does not give you a job boost potion when you buy the goddamn expansion. Like, it's an optional thing. Like, we're talking about something that came with the game. Like, the Defender armor in Monster Hunter Iceborne literally sits in your inventory when you start the game if you own Iceborne. The worst one that I can think of ever is Dead Space 2. Dead Space 2, when it got ported to PC, they had all this DLC shit that you could buy, all this like cheat DLC items on the console. And when they ported it to PC, they didn't want to do that. So what they did was they just dumped every single one into the store. And I think most of them are free. So you start the game and you go to the shop for the very first like time to upgrade your gun, and like all this cheat armor is in there, and like all the best weapons in the game are in there.
Oh,
and it's
man.
The problem isn't even that it's like massive cheat shit. The problem is that it makes it difficult to find what the real weapons are.
Yeah, and like it also would just feel bad. It also just feels bad if like there's a variety of like not just the strongest armor, but like a variety of strong, cool armors and things where you're like, I guess I'll just have to not want to come back to this one and use it at some point, you know, if you're particularly attached to it or whatever the case is, if the game is not explicitly warning you about it, you know. Like, for example, let me phrase that a different way. You get armor and shit like that that's like, hey, don't wear this, you know, it's meant for speeding through the game. But if you get like 100 consumables, it's like, so should I just not use these because I'm going to be using consumables? So
yeah, Monster Hunter.
What the fuck am I supposed to do?
Hey,
like,
here's some free potions or whatever, because the game sold X amount of copies.
You can't not. You're going to use those normally, so you might as well just use them.
Might as well. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you know. So yeah. That's
apparently that Defender set was added to Monster Hunter World before Iceborne to get people up to date on Iceborne if they were excited about Iceborne. So if you play Monster Hunter World right now, brand new fucking file, there's fucking cheat armor just sitting in it. Wow, that is stupid as fuck.
That's ruinous. That's ruinous.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That sucks.
Yeah, the games that do that is infuriating. The worst for me is when it's like, I'll pre-order it because it comes with like a soundtrack or some other, you know, or like a different skin for something. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll pre-order it. But then it also comes with like free level up points for the early game that you can't not use.
Okay, how exactly, because now my compliance brain is thinking a little bit, how exactly is Iceborne implemented into gameplay? Is it literally a new menu that you select and then go into a new map and world?
Once you install Iceborne, a guy gets an exclamation point above his head and goes, "Hey man, shit's going crazy in the ice place. Do you want to go to the ice place?"
Okay. Because you could do that the way some other games do by like literally like gating it off in a way where it's like, load your file up. Do you want to set it to Iceborne? Okay, well then come on over.
That doesn't make sense for Monster Hunter because like it's literally just like the next step in the major story quest.
And it's all together.
And once Iceborne's integrated, it's just like, this is the first half of the game, this is the second half of the game.
Well, there's got to be a better way than fucking that, though.
Yeah, like, don't put those items in the game at all. That's the better way.
So just too bad. Well, it is an expansion,
I think,
to the game. It's not its own thing.
No, but like I said before, the items were added to World, not Iceborne.
Right.
So if you're playing just World and don't want to go to Iceborne, that shit is still in there.
No, but I guess what I'm saying is, because like I wasn't sure, but you're explaining that it's like, yeah, Iceborne it's expanded world content. Yeah, then it's fair to basically tell people, no, you have to earn this. You have to get here. That's
absolutely.
Like that's totally fair to do.
I think the Demon Souls remake did it decently, where the new DLC weapons that you get as the pre-order, I forget what it was, but they're decent. Some of them are good, but you can't upgrade them.
Oh, Ah, okay.
So they're decent for like an hour.
But balance-wise, you can't rely on this in the long run.
Yeah, you will absolutely need to trade them out for something.
That's pretty good. That's a decent compromise.
By the time you get to like 2-1 or 2-2 or something like that.
Okay. But I mean, at that point, is that really solving the intended goal of fast forwarding the entire game?
Well, that's not the intended goal. The intended goal was for Demon Souls probably to smooth over that game's notoriously vicious first hour with a pre-order bonus to hey, you want a pre-order?
What Capcom wants is for you to fast forward world.
Yeah, so that you have a reason to buy Iceborne. Do you want to buy Iceborne? Let's buy Iceborne. Yo, Iceborne's coming. You should buy Iceborne. Oh, but I'm not up there. I didn't get that far. Don't worry. You'll get that far real fast.
All right. Got one coming in. Hello. Coming in from Flashy Amoeba, High Fighting Game Cop Wooly, and Secretary of Absolute Dog Pat. A while ago, I was watching a friend play Bethesda's 2017 Prey. How apropos.
That is extraordinarily apropos.
In one of the starting areas, after taking damage from the mimic enemies, she ran over to one of the water fountains and activated the fountain, restoring 1 HP. She then began alternating between water fountains to restore HP bit by bit. The water fountains could only be activated about once every 10 to 15 seconds, presumably to stop this kind of exploit. I thought it was a little tedious, but accepted that my friend's OCD wanted to take the slow but unlimited method of restoring HP rather than using consumable items they had. She commented this was an example of bad design because it was not fun for her, and I was taken aback seeing as this is a more personal influenced issue than bad design, as it was clearly not the intended method by the devs. She countered that the human brain would prioritize efficiency over fun, and the developers should have foreseen this and not had the water fountains restore any health. The conversation more or less ended there, but what's your opinion? Is it the responsibility of the devs or not?
I think what's really interesting about this is I've been complaining about Dishonored for like 5 days. Because I'm playing Prey, and Prey does not tell me that I'm playing the game wrong. It's something that I very much can't stand about the Dishonored series, and I've been talking about it all week, about how basically my issue with Dishonored is that they give you 10 out of like 13 of your buttons kill people, and every time you kill somebody, the game goes, no, bad, don't bad killing, bad do, wrong, right? And I've been talking about that a lot. But the core of it is that player psychology is more complex than just people do whatever. It's like if you tell people things work a certain way, they'll tend towards a certain way. And I believe it's a quote from Sid Meier, I want to say, that players will optimize all the fun out of a game if you let them. And it's a danger whenever you make an effect in a game that, well, what happens if people take this to its quote-unquote logical conclusion? So I'm pretty sure if you go back to a 2017 stream, you can find footage of me ping-ponging between 2 water fountains because I only had 6 health down from 100, and instead of eating a banana, which would have healed that in 1 second, I could have kept the banana and then ping pong between these 2 water fountains for a minute and a half.
Now, completely divorced from whether or not you would perform this action in a circumstance when you needed it, are you pro or anti-goblins in this scenario?
I think that having a water fountain lock itself down for it's like 15 seconds to give you a single health point. The only outcome of that is you going either I'm not going to use that sucks, right? It only gives 1 health and I'm not going to waste my time, or people wasting their time on
Exactly.
And both of those suck ass.
Exactly.
Both of those are worse than having it do nothing.
So this is where you have to look at things and go, yes, the average person will look at this and they will look at the tediousness of it and they will accept the trivial reward and move on.
And then never do it again.
But you cannot assume this will be the universal experience, nor should you. You must assume that the little trivial thing that you're rewarding them with will be maximized and min-maxed and exploited to the point of compromising fun. And you have to stop the player from allowing themselves to do that. In Returnal, you can go back to your ship and sleep to get a little heal.
Yeah. That was like people figured that out, and it became like hyper optimal to do that. And it's the shittiest way to play the game ever.
After clearing the map multiple layers in and scraping it of all heals, I realized, oh shit, this run is in danger. The only thing I can do right now is go back to the fucking ship and sleep. And if you have enough clearance on the Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, and you go far enough, you can actually backtrack for like the 10 minutes or whatever it takes you to get back to your ship and go take a nap. You can then fuck up and then have to do it more than once. And it turns the game into a really annoying thing where you could keep this run going if you fucked up. Yeah. But how annoyed are you? And your annoyance should not be the determining factor. So they patched it.
It's extra bad because runs are so long
Yeah.
that like you're 90 minutes, 100 minutes in, and you're like, I could maybe do it if I got a full heal.
I can save this whole run if I just run back. So they patched it, and now it only works once. And that's the answer. Because leaving it up to, this is optimal, but it's just annoying to be optimal, is absolutely a mistake and a bad thing to do when you're designing a game. Make it so that you take the choice away, so that the person doesn't have to choose between like the frustrating path.
Yeah, and so like with many games, this wouldn't be an option. If you were playing Assassin's Creed, or if you were playing a first-person shooter that's like Doom or whatever, this would be trivial. You look at it, you click on it, aha, 1 health, haha, and you go on your merry way. Prey, specifically as an immersive sim, you have a fucking inventory with a grid filled to bits with health items and armor pickups and rare ammunition and stuff like that. The game's design is explicitly scroungy. There's even a function in the game where you can throw recycling charges at the environment, and it will turn all of the physics items into materials that you can bring to a crafting station. Right? Like, it wants you to pick shit up. It wants you to optimize your use of materials. So in that context, giving somebody a completely free, terrible heal lets them take their healing items and turn those into crafting materials.
So there's an absolute benefit.
Yeah, there's no downside other than the fact that it sucks ass.
How is the healing in general, and how is the checkpointing in terms of like?
Checkpointing's good. The checkpointing's good, and healing in the game is if you eat like a banana or like a ramen soup or some little piece of shit health item that you find, it'll heal you 5 immediately, and then it'll heal you like another 5 over like 15 seconds.
Okay.
And health kits like heal you like 30 or 40 points like a snap of the finger instantaneously. And it's just like, there's no benefit to anything by having this heal you at all. Like, the best case scenario is somebody goes, I'm not going to waste my time with that, and never does it again. At which point, why would you? What is the point of that?
Yeah. No, it's just like if your whole point is this thing is a refreshing, small, trivial heal, but you know, it'll, if you come across it and you get lucky, then you'll be happy you're there. Then have it do it once, you know? that's you have to limit that kind of thing. You have to absolutely account for the goblins. You have to build around goblins and make it so that goblins are not the best way to go about this. And goblins will find a way to exist anyway. They'll exist in other things, but the min-maxing process, if you can take the frustrating route out of people's hands, so they don't even have to go down this road of like hating the fact that they're doing it because this is the way that makes the most sense. Because that just comes down to like, how much do you care? And people care about, you know, that type of thing more than others. Min will spend weeks to months doing the same thing over and over again to optimize in order to make sure that he plays as smoothly as possible. He doesn't give a fuck. He has infinite patience for that. He kind of likes it. That's so not everybody.
I'm actually diving into this. This is a deeper problem than I originally anticipated, that I did not understand because I'm not that far into Prey. And on a whim, I just typed in the phrase water Prey into the game to discover that water fountains in that game have a secondary function. There is a side quest you can complete that has the water regenerate your MP. So the water fountains are supposed to be initially useless, but usable, and then later they will regen your psychic energy at a significant rate, which turns them from a useless function into an overpowered function.
So then you are absolutely incentivized strongly to do this dumb shit.
So the intended design must be, you see a water fountain, go over to it, realizes it heals you 1, oh, that's not worth it, but you know that you can use water sources as an item or a benefit. Then later you unlock the psi regeneration, and you get told to go use it, and it regens your psi bar, and you go, oh, cool, now all those water fountains that I've been seeing and knew were there because I used them to heal myself 1 HP when I passed by them. And it's
Yeah. Game design is really interesting, man. It really
apparently
is.
That upgrade is like insanely broken. Like, apparently it regenerates the shit like super hard and makes your psi powers like infinite.
Yeah, as a whole, the balance of incentive is a fucking complex thing. And like, there's a fulcrum point that you have to balance it on, that you have to approach, where it's like, you know, the player's willingness to struggle, and the average level of like, fuck it, I'll just keep beating my head against this until I get good enough to get past whatever's in my way, or you describing the inability to play certain genres where, like, if your decisions are suboptimal, you turn into a fucking goop pile and melt off the chair.
That out of a bar of 100 default, drinking water in Prey will give you 50 points of psi energy. So 2 of those sips will put you to full, and those sources are everywhere.
So you need them, yeah.
But it's like, I don't see why you needed to give it a health point. People know what a water faucet looks like. Like, people.
Mm-hmm. Now this kind of thing, I always find really interesting when people get creative with their solutions, because it shows that you're thinking about all these aspects of the game. If a game decides to put limited enemies in an RPG, it means that it doesn't want you to overlevel. It means that it wants you to be stuck at a certain place by the time you get to whatever boss, because you are literally unable to go find more experience anywhere in the game, right? Mm-hmm. But knowing that some people like that, and knowing that some people would want to level up or do whatever in a game like The Last Story, you have the literal enemy boss fountain room that spits out grunts to fight before you go into a boss fight just for that purpose.
It's funny because there's the two extremes of this, and I think Prey is probably on one extreme because I described earlier I went off the beaten path and found a plan that lets you make level ups. Like, just straight up make level ups. And the immersive sim genre is always about, like, breaking that shit. Like, oh, I stealthed in the back in the Deus Ex and killed that lady with the hanging potted plant and never had to do the Chinatown level. You know, shit like that. And the opposite, the game that goes the hardest in terms of, no, you're going to fucking level up when I tell you, is Lost Odyssey, where the XP thresholds for level ups are at extremes. So, like, every level up to level 10 is like 100 XP, but the trip from level 10 to 11 is like 20,000. And then in the next area, after you beat the boss, all the enemies start giving you 5,000 XP, so you immediately hit the new level cap. And then the next jump is 100,000. I tried to grind in Lost Odyssey and discovered that
you get punished.
Does not want you to.
You get punished, yeah.
This is the level you're gonna fucking be when you fight the boss.
One door later, they're gonna give you in more than enough, and you'll be happy with it. But stop and fucking and move forward. That version of, like, just accounting for grinding with the Last Story boss fountain thing is like, I bring that up because it's just like it's inelegant, but it basically addresses people who are like, I know you want to run back through the area, you don't have to, you know. It's not a pretty solution, but it solves that problem and goes, here, don't make the game less fun for you, stand outside this room, fight these grunts until you're done, and then walk inside, you know. Anyway, yeah, that's a really interesting question, and there is the definitive answer, at least looking here, between someone who even, like, I don't have the fucking compulsion that you do with these things, but even you having that compulsion can see that it would be better if you were handcuffed from having to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, the where it breaks is, like, I'm willing to admit when my own compulsion is what's causing me to do something in a more hyper efficient way. But the breaking point for me is that when I look at the fantasy scenario in which that compulsion didn't exist, and does the situation still kind of suck or be pointless, then what the fuck is the point of it being there at all?
Right.
Like, if the optimal, if the intended path is for you to go, whatever, this sucks, how can that possibly be a good thing?
All right. Here's one coming in from Danny. Says, hey, Wooly Unit 1 and Pat Unit 2. Dan here from the place with the accent nobody pronounces right, Scotland. How you doing? Just a quick question. Been a listener and a watcher for a while, and I noticed for the last few episodes, there's no outro music anymore, and I've been introduced to a lot of good music through that, so I've been a bit sad about not hearing it anymore. Just wondering what's up with that. Yeah, no problem. So, quick and easy answer on this question. What happened to the podcast outro music? I'll tell you. I got a nice little warning email coming from fucking 10 years ago or so that is a warning about DMCA.
Oh, great.
And basically being told that, hey, yeah, no, don't fuck with this music. And it was a preemptive, you know? It was a little bit of just a heads up. We're scanning everything everywhere, all across the internet. And podcasts have for a while been pretty... There's no, like, YouTube scanning function in terms of, like, instant recognition of content ID or whatever, and it's not, they don't have the Twitch thing running, but they do have crawlers that are out there that will take years, but they will eventually catch up. So I saw that and I went, all right, that's that. No more music. So that's what happened. Whoa. Sorry for the lack of fun, but this is how we play it safe.
That sucks.
Yeah. For the most part, video game music has always tended to be fine. But, every once in a while there was some funky crossovers or, like triple Q beats and shit like that would, sound a little too much like one thing or another, and then they just didn't like it. So I'm just like, look, I'm not going to fucking take the risk. It's fun to have, but it's not an essential thing. So, yeah. And last one we'll take from Frog Mountain. Says, hey, Wooly and Pat, recently I was thinking about Sword and Shield and how they're the first Pokemon games that allow you to hold on a second. Sword and Shield are the first Pokemon games to allow you to change the audio settings. While it's already strange that it took them this long to add such a common system setting, what's even stranger is that it treats it like it's not a basic function, but a feature that needs to be unlocked. When you start the game for the first time, the options menu doesn't include sound settings. To unlock them, you have to obtain a key item from an NPC, and that NPC takes a few hours to get to because he's in the third gym leader's town. He's not visually distinct from any other random NPC, and literally just the volume levels. He's not distinct from any other NPC standing in town. He's in a random alley. If you never talk to him, he's easily overlooked. You can go the entire game without being able to change how loud the music and sound effects are. No, getting the adding from him does not set a permanent flag in the sound settings in the options menu. So if you start a new save, you lose access to your sound settings and you have to talk to him again. Can you think of any other game that has this level of bizarre restriction to a basic function? That is incredibly stupid.
Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
Game Freak has done this with other features.
You have to earn the right to change your volume. Like, what do you think people change the volume for? Like, do you think it's like always just for fun? Like, it's not a matter of like enjoying the experience more because one thing is too loud or they're in a circumstance where you want to hear it less?
This is the kind of... I'm going to talk out my ass for a second, but this reminds me of when New Vegas mods add new functions and they put like a controller item in your inventory instead of being able to bake it into the game's menu system. And I'm like, do they not know how to just make a sound option? Do they just literally not know how?
I think it's as simple as they just didn't care about it. Excuse me, it was just an unimportant feature. And when they eventually did, it was like, oh, well, here, it'll be a bonus. In-game.
I'm seeing people saying that Black and White had an easy mode you could only unlock by beating the game? Give me 2 seconds to look that up.
Oh, yeah. That is fucking choice. That is brilliant. 200 IQ. Congratulations. You've now unlocked easy mode.
The key system is a feature of the Unova link in Black 2 and White 2. It allows players to change the difficulty level of the game and switch between Black City and White Forest. Change the mystery door. They can be shared between players, but players can only share the keys that are exclusive to their version. For the first time, there are different difficulty levels: easy, normal, and challenge mode. Only normal mode is unlocked by default. Easy and challenge mode must be unlocked through the course of the game. Because they are unlocked only after defeating the champion, the player must start a new game in order to play the main storyline with a different difficulty.
You need both versions?
No, you can trade them to people. So you could trade your key. Oh my god, this is an actual mess. To unlock, oh my god! To unlock easy mode in Black 2 or challenge mode in White 2, the respective keys for each version needs to be given to the player with the opposite version.
You need both.
So if you want to play hard mode in White, you need to have a friend that beat Black. And if you want to play easy mode in Black, you need a friend that beat normal in White.
Yeah, this is the dumbest. This is number one. This is number one. This is the dumbest I have ever heard. There is literally nothing on this level. Congratulations, Game Freak. You have blown out the entire history of video games with the dumbest feature I have ever heard in my entire life. You're the king. You are the champion. I bow down. That is the most obtuse and ridiculously stupid way of unlocking difficulties. Like, what do you think people do with difficulties? Why do you think they like, you know what I mean? Like, when you beat a game and it goes, hey, you think that's really tough? You should try hard mode now that you know how to play. And the person's like, yeah, I had fun. I'm down for more challenge. Why not? But when someone goes to easy mode, it's like because they're having a hard time and they want to switch to an easier version. Like, what do you think people want these features for? That's incredible.
Absolutely baffling.
That's the number one. Number one. Okay, well, like, I was going to bring up that, like, to answer the person's question, I feel the only similar thing that baffles me in that regard is any game with a cold open. Fuck cold opens in all video games. It's not cool. It's not interesting. It's not a way of being immersive. It's just annoying because different games have different settings and functions on different computers that you need to verify ahead of time. Sometimes you need to verify your controller, your keyboard buttons, whatever the fuck. There's things you have to test out and configure before you start playing a game. A cold open is when you boot the game up and it just spits you into gameplay first, then you have to get to your title screen. I hate that shit.
Ask me what my favorite cold open video game is.
What's your favorite cold open video game?
Horizon Zero Dawn on Steam kicks you into the fucking intro, which is like 20 minutes long before you can choose your video settings. So it fucking defaults every new player to like 480p full screen, and the game looks like fucking garbage.
If I'm not mistaken, FTL does this. Doesn't FTL spit you into a cold open as well? Because I remember booting it up right into gameplay and having like resolution issues. Don't fucking do this, guys. Like, actually give people the option to change settings before you do it. If you want to, do at the very minimum, at bare minimum, pull a Tsushima or so and go, all right, here's some settings, answer these questions.
Mind that at all.
And then we'll immerse you into our cold open. But I can't fucking stand.
Or even PC games that, like, you go to click launch and it goes, do you want to open the launcher or the settings? And you can click on settings and then you have that, gray box, like, I want this resolution, I want this. And you might have to change that later. But at least you don't get a situation where, like, there's a HDMI thing with my TV and your TV that certain games in full screen at 120 will not display sound because there's something to do with the HDMI handshake, so it only works in borderless, or you have to put it to 60, whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll load up a game and it doesn't let me change anything, and then it's playing an intro and it's like, there's no fucking sound for this, guys. Like, I need to change my HDMI setting thing, something.
Again, like, if you're playing any game that uses like any sort of controller that you're trying to configure or you need to set up in advance, or even like, oh, the default controls, I actually want them to be something else entirely. Fuck you. do this and then do this tutorial. Like, it's so just it's counterintuitive. It sucks. And
Don't do it.
And like what you're trying to do is create a first impression of immersion and like a really like engrossing feeling of like the game has begun, whether you're ready or not. And all you do is have a sense of, I hate all of this until I get to the title screen. This is annoying me.
Oh, I also have another one. PC games specifically, please do not fucking auto-calibrate HDR on boot so that my fucking shit can freak out because I'm trying to set it up in OBS, please. Can you just let me choose that to turn on when I feel like turning it on, please?
Cinematic experience. Movie-like quality.
Yeah, I'm literally setting the fucking thing up to work, and Mass Effect 3 is fucking going crazy because I'm alt-tabbing out of it to fucking set up a window, and I didn't realize it was in fucking HDR when it turned on, and it's fucking... Oh my god.
But did it feel like a film, though? Did it feel like a film? Hate it. Anyway.
Don't hide the subtitle option!
Oh, God. Like, there's stuff like this where I've always hated it, but, like, you feel it more...
Hate it every day.
You feel it more when you have to configure shit, you know, for this job. Yes, exactly. It definitely is, yeah. All right. But no, that Pokemon shit takes the absolute cake. That is above and beyond anything I could ever fathom. Holy shit, Black and White. And I keep hearing about how great those games are too. Like, so many people are like, yeah, Pokemon Black and White were the last great Pokemon games. Totally love them. They're super good. And it's like, I sure, probably, but I can't believe that system of difficulty fucking selection. Jesus Christ, what the hell? Why would you do that?
Defies belief. I want to talk to someone, and I want to ask them what the plan was. Oh, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. Because we have the incompetent version, which is everyone there is insane. That's not particularly satisfying.
No.
And then there's somebody was like, oh, hey, let's make an easy mode and a hard mode for Pokemon. That's a cool idea. And then they started working on it, and their boss told them to make it a system exclusive thing so that they could sell more the double copies.
Or yeah, just what do we just put more reasons to have trading be a thing? Create reasons for trading.
And then they said, well, the hard mode has to go in black and the easy mode has to go in white.
So it's easier on white mode.
It is. But you don't have to beat the game to unlock it.
So hold on. If you're playing white and you beat the game, you then unlock hard. No, you have your item that you can give to black.
Yeah.
And black can then become easy only when white trades the item over.
That's correct. And black can... Oh, no.